Oh, hopefully that takes care of it. I could hear just fine. Of course, I should be listening to the same thing you're listening to. Let me check. Sandy called in also. Let me check Sandy, see if she's calling about the same thing. I appreciate the calls. Sometimes I don't get to the text right away.
Hello.
Hey, Sandy, were you calling about the sound this morning?
Yeah, you have no sound on YouTube, and not a bunch, but other people have commented.
Yeah. How
So
about now?
you do now because
I've changed. Thank you for the
I
call.
have it
It
on
helps.
right now.
It helps. I appreciate it,
You could
Sandy.
hear it in the background
I
there.
can.
I
Thank
had
you.
it on because there was no sound. So
All right. Thanks, ma'am. Take care.
okay, no problem.
All
I'm
right.
glad you got it fixed.
All right. Bye bye.
All right, have a good day. Bye.
You know, that was a lot quicker, and that two people called me right away. Thank you for that, by the way. Between Mel and Sandy, and others were texting me. I just hadn't grabbed it yet. I got Sandy that text no audio. Quite a few people text. Thanks so much. Yeah, but when I had no sound, I mentioned that we're going to be back on the radio. Now somebody called me and was listening and heard. So, but I changed. I did change something. I switched to a different protocol on there that made a difference. But anyway, getting back to the tribal lands at the Cocopa tribe, it decided that they didn't want a border fence and being tribal lands and a sovereign nation. And I don't know the rules thereof, but they said we don't want a wall, and one was not built. The same happened down around the Tucson area with the Toto Odom tribe, and it has been a problem at times. I mean, Border Patrol's told me, I've talked to other people that said it's been a problem that traffic tends to be higher where there's no fence. Now, during Biden, it didn't make a much difference because during Biden, there was a lot of fence that wasn't complete. The doors weren't put up, and they had an open door policy that even if there was a door on the fence, and there are places where there's doors, and people stood outside, the Border Patrol would come open them and invite them in. That's the difference between President Biden and President Trump. You know, he had an open door, open immigration. And then amazingly, when he got questioned about the border, he'd say, we need immigration reform. Yeah, there needs to be an immigration reform. I'm waiting on Congress. It's not my fault. It's Congress. It was all lies. It was all lies. And we knew it, but the press never said it. The press said, well, we need to have this immigration reform. And they kept putting forth programs to have a comprehensive immigration reform that would include illegal immigration being okay up to a certain limit. Yeah, that's what they wanted everybody to agree to. And thankfully, we had sensible people in Congress that said, no, that's not comprehensive reform. That's comprehension open door. They didn't do that. And Trump got in, and immediately the border became sensible and closed. And we've had many months now with zero people, which is hard to believe. Zero. Like one couldn't sneak through. And I don't know how they count that. Maybe they count the ones that sneak through and they get sent right back as also zero. But they're having problems in the Toto Odom area. As the border wall pushes forward, and this article is a little confusing to me. They've put up no trespassing signs, which is they can do that. That's no problem. They put up no trespassing signs at multiple locations and placed them, obviously to keep out the border contractors. I can't imagine for a minute that the contractors would go in there if the tribe doesn't have an agreement with the nation. So that's what confuses me. But there's been a lot of reports of really heavy traffic in the Toto Odom in years past. I have no idea currently, but there has been. And it's my understanding that the Odom Nation, Toto Odom Nation, is on both sides of the border. I don't know if that's true. I've never confirmed that, but I understand it's possibly on both sides of the border. So they don't want a wall barrier between their people. And I would assume those things could be worked out where, there could be, some kind of border station or something put in or something that they manage and run. But I have no idea. I have no idea about the negotiations. I do know that the Cocoa Paw was in negotiations with Trump during his first term about changing their mind and putting up a wall. Of course, he's in his second term, and I don't see one, so that may have not been as fruitful as I was told, or maybe it never happened. But that's some things I was told was they were negotiating, and then Biden got in, and that all stopped. But I wouldn't think that Cocoa Paw tribe, as well as Toto Odom, enjoys that invasion any more than anyone else does. But maybe I have not spoken with any of those leaders. I don't. Well, these no trespassing signs it's clear that the restrictions apply only to non-tribal members connected to border wall construction. That's their whole deal. The restrictions are only for non-members, but the concerns they have over sacred sites. They said in May, contractors building a secondary wall south of Ajo allegedly damaged a 1,000-year-old archaeological site of a massive fish-shaped carving in the soil more than 170 feet long. And the tribal chairman, Verlin Jose, says it's an act of desecration. The site represented a living connection to our ancestors. The nation, community members, he's asking the nation is asking the community members not to intervene, just report any suspicious activity to the Toto Odom Police Department, and anyone unsafe should call 911 immediately. But this is to overbuilding a secondary border fence. So from the sound of this article, it looks like they already have a fence, and this is a secondary fence. Don't know the details. Perhaps I should call someone in Tucson and find out what's really going on over there. But that area has been complicated. Well, he's complicated for the Border Patrol to go in there, and that's a federal agency. And federal agencies, I think, marshals are allowed on tribal lands. But I don't know about Border Patrol. I have no idea. I don't know. I've heard maybe they could go horses or something. I'm not sure, but it's there is a push back, and as the border fence is being built more and more, and it's continuously under construction now, the pathways to come in illegally get very much funneled into the few places where it becomes possible. And I don't know if you've seen the border wall lately. The 30-foot wall is, to me, is impassable. There has been concerns or some understanding that there have been some people that can scale a 30-foot wall and rappel down the other side of a 30-foot wall. I don't doubt it. I mean, I'm sure there's people out there, athletes and special forces members and superheroes and stuff like that. But maybe some ninja Mexicans. But it would be very rare that somebody could do that safely, although it happened. So they've put barbed wire. If you've noticed that, this barbed wire, is all along the top of this fence, just for miles and miles and miles. They've been putting it out there. The military has been putting it out there. And then people complain about it, like the barbed wire is unsafe. It's 30 foot off the ground. You're hard pressed to get into it. You have to really work at it to get into that barbed wire. What do they call it? Constantine wire or something, but it goes on. And I hope they can figure out the Toto Odom situation with the tribe and do it and do it cooperatively, whatever that figure out is, whatever that end results is. But if there's a contract for contractors to build a secondary wall, I would think that was already been approved by the tribe. So why would they bar the workers from coming in if that's true? Maybe it's not. I don't know. Black Cloud says, no problem, just cut off their federal funding. I think that's a real answer. If there is federal funding or something that could be cut off. I think so. I think that would be reasonable. Edward texts me this day in history note. August 10th, 1519, explorer Ferdinand Magellan leads a fleet of 5 Spanish ships bound westward for the Atlantic crossing, then to sail into what Magellan will name the Mar Pacifico, meaning peaceful sea, the Pacific Ocean. He will die before his one surviving vessel completes the first navigation of the Earth. Circumnavigation of the Earth. Yeah, back when I was in school, we studied this kind of stuff. I mean, real history and things. We did. 5 ships, 1 returned. I don't remember the time frame, but it was like people forgot about them. They were gone a long time. And of course, I don't know if that was during that time. I would assume it is. They didn't really know the Pacific Ocean. They thought they didn't know the Americas existed. It was just one ocean. Like it was a shortcut to get to, the Middle East. Just take the ocean to the Middle East, and then we find out the Americas are in the way. They're blocking it. North and South America. We're blocking it. Yeah. 1519. So a long time ago, but in relative terms, not that long ago. Look how far we've come. Yeah, now we just fly around the planet. It doesn't take 5 ships so that one survives and most of the crew dies. Yeah, we just fly around. Let's talk to Mr. Gilbert this morning. Good morning, Gilbert.
Hey, Russ, how you doing?
We're doing well, sir. Good morning.
Thought I'd give you a call before I head on back to my chores.
Okay.
You know what August 6th and August 9th have in common?
Do not.
That's when we dropped the atomic bomb in Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
That's not been on my radar. I don't know that I ever knew the exact dates. I guess we don't celebrate it, which is good. I don't think it's but it's noteworthy for sure.
It's definitely, I don't celebrate it. I just I looked up at my calendar and I go, I know there's something about August 9th. What is it? So I looked it up and sure enough, that's what it was. But I got some other stuff to talk about. Are you ready for some after?
Shoot.
Okay, the first one. There was, I forgot where it was, New York, Pennsylvania, whatever. A child caused the delay of an airplane to take off because it refused to put its seatbelt on.
Yep.
Not once,
yep,
but twice.
That's what I heard. Well, delayed. I think didn't they have to land again to let him off? No, I mean not just delayed.
No, they couldn't. No, they couldn't.
They never took off. Never took off. Okay.
Never took off, and they had to spend the night. The passengers had to spend the night in motels because of this young man. So what does that tell you about the parents of that?
If you were the parent of that child, what would have happened, Gilbert?
He would have had a nice little talk in his ear.
Oh, yeah.
And I would say, you have 2 choices: put your seatbelt on, or you're going to get spanked.
Yep. Yeah, I think
if he made the choice not to put the seatbelt on, he would have got spanked. Him and I would have walked to the bathroom, and I would have taken down his little pants, and I would have swatted him.
I can't believe it happened. I mean, I read it. I heard about it briefly. I can't believe it happened even today. I mean, are the parents that much out of it now? I mean, as a society, we've been pushing the parents out. We've been saying, look, they can do transgender without your knowledge. They can do things without your knowledge, and the schools support it and all that. And now we've got, I think he's a toddler, wasn't he? Like 5 years old or something?
Yeah, 3 years old.
3 years old. 3 years old. And now we've got it where they control their entire environment. They don't even have brain development close yet, let alone the teenager, which is halfway there.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of crazy.
My son Sammy kept on wanting to play by the stove, and I kept on saying, "You're going to get burnt. You're going to get burnt."
Yeah.
And he wouldn't listen to me. So I got a lighter, and I lit it, and I put his hand over the flame, way up above the flame.
Yeah.
Way up.
So you feel
he couldn't get burnt, but he could feel the heat. And I told him, "This is tutu. You're going to get burned if you keep on playing with it." But he learned not to play around the stoves.
I would hope a few things happen on this case to prove a point.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope that the airline involved would ban those parents from ever using their airline again. I think the word should go out that these people
I think
have
what
cost
would be,
us and
yeah,
cost us and our passengers. And then I hope it leaves it open to civil suits so that the passengers that suffered problems because of this are able
right.
to sue
And
the parents.
I think would be even, as I would say, more better would have pictures of the parents all over the newspapers.
And that would be fine. Yeah, do all
Yeah,
that too.
yeah, I would do all that. That's one of my funnies for today. My other funny
Yeah, yeah,
is the WBA, women's basketball,
yeah,
are
WNBA.
more talks about keeping trans players from playing.
Yeah.
It says it is a very complex issue.
Well, it is for them because
Yeah.
they've made it complex. They've lived in this fantasy that boys can be boys and girls can be boys and boys can be girls and all
And
that stuff. But
do you know what's causing this?
what?
For them to talk about it again?
What?
Apparently, you haven't read it.
Oh,
Are you ready for some more laughter? We have two ex-NBA players that want to play in the WBA.
oh no, I'm familiar with that. There was also a Frenchman that is asked to be able to play.
Right. Ennis Conter Freedom is one,
Mhm.
and Royce White is the other.
Mhm.
That are saying they want to play, and if they can't play, they are going to sue
Correct.
the WBA.
Which is wonderful. I mean, it's the best
and-
thing that could happen.
Yeah. And the reason one of Mr. White, I believe, Royce White,
Yeah.
I believe he said, I should be able to play when the director of WBA cannot tell me what a woman is.
Well, he can sue because they don't define
Right. Exactly.
anything in their and apparently they have a very lengthy organizational chart and a very lengthy explanation of what the league does and doesn't do, and they say it's
Right,
for
but
women
they
only,
cannot
and they never define the term, but yet they take the time to
Right.
define every other term, but they don't
Right,
define it,
right.
and so they left themselves open for this. And God bless these
Right, okay.
these NBA players, and I really think this is a push, and I don't know them. I think this is a push to help the women. This is a push to say, look, if you're going to open it, then I'm playing to prove a point.
Yep.
And I believe they will. I mean, they sound committed. They're going to play.
The way he was pushing it, the narrative this
Yeah.
morning on watching it, he goes, "Do you realize how many more people will come to watch the game play?
Oh.
Watch us play."
I will tune.
Yep.
If it was pay-per-view, I'd pay for it.
Yep.
I would. Because
Well,
because
that-
it's going to be brutal if they allow that. It would be just a joke.
Right.
Because
And why-
the men would dominate. I mean, high school boys can't lose to a WNBA team. It's just the
And-
way we're built different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they I think they're doing this to make a point. Tell
Yes.
me what a woman is.
Yes.
Tell me what a woman is.
Yes.
Clarify what a woman is. I mean, how much a woman is a person that can have may have a child. There are some women that can have the child, but the biological female parts and male parts,
Yep.
yada, yada, yada.
Well,
I don't know any men that can breastfeed.
Well,
Do you?
no, but the reason they're going to be better because their men are 30% stronger. They can jump higher.
Oh,
They have
yeah.
more
Oh,
endurance. They have
yeah.
more lung capacity. They can play
Yeah.
12-minute quarters instead of 10-minute quarters, and that's what the WNBA plays is 10-minute quarters. I mean, there is such a vast difference in the biologics of men and women that it's unfair completely. And I think these guys are heroes to women, to tell you the truth. I think they're heroes to women. I really believe, like you do, that they're
Yeah.
doing this to prove a point in order to get the WNBA to smarten up and put down some serious rules that are sensible and protect these women. And
Well, Russ, I got one more question for you.
yeah,
How's your white privilege?
it's pretty weak. I don't know how to strengthen it. I want better white privilege. I don't know how to get it.
Did you see that black basketball player
Yeah, Asia.
smack with? Yeah. And all she could say, this is all because of her white privilege.
I'm sorry, it's
got,
not Asia. That's Joshua Carrington is the one that did that. And And it's outrageous what's going on. And you know what the most outrageous point is not that she did it because we expect it from her. She's kind of a thug. The
Yeah.
the outrageous part is how some of the media and the ESPN people come up and support her on doing it. And that she did nothing. In fact, some even have come out as much as say that the girl she hit, Sophie, she should have been thrown out. That Sophie,
Yeah.
because
Well,
she's the problem.
Well, she was thrown out once before for doing the same thing.
Correct. Which
Back.
Sophie admits that she did
Yeah.
it, and Sophie
Yeah,
admits it was the
she
right
did.
thing to do.
Yeah.
She didn't run
Yeah.
into the locker room and say, black privilege. Well, it was a
And
white girl she hit anyway, I think. But
yeah,
anyway, she didn't complain that she was being mistreated, but she
how
was
about the coach?
retaliating for play that was unfair to Caitlin Clark, fouls that were
Yeah.
not being called, and she said, "I've had enough of it. I'm going to create my own foul," and she did it. And she did
And
it
how
to
about the
protect
coach?
Caitlin, and she became a hero and made millions of dollars on it.
Yeah. And then the coach would not talk about the foul.
Well, some about that coach, and
Well,
I'm mixed
what
on
she
it,
said,
but
what she said, I'm trying to get to, she said, she should have been, foul should have been yada yada yada. And then when they asked her, what do you think about the white privilege? She's saying it was white privilege. Oh, I don't know anything about that. I'm not concerned about that. I don't know, so I
and
can't comment.
and what do you think about that comment? What do you think that means when she says that?
It's a cop out.
Well, I think she
That's
lies. I think she lies.
yeah,
I mean, how could she be the
yeah.
coach, fully engaged in everything that's going on that team, on that field, on everything that's happening, and she says, "Oh, I was unaware that happened. I don't know
Yeah.
anything about that." Well, she's a
Yeah.
liar on top of being just a supporter of bad behavior that's going to drive that league into problems, and it's going to continue to drive
And,
that league into problems.
and the thing is, she did that because she didn't want to lose money. Because if she would have commented on it on the right way, she would have lost support from the players
No,
because, oh, you're not sticking up for
but
our players.
but by doing what she
You're
did,
not
she's
doing
losing support from her own team. She's not supporting her own
it.
players. She's
I
not
didn't
supporting
think that.
Sophie.
Nope.
So what kind of
Nope.
coach is that? What kind of?
One.
She's horrible. And she used to coach Dejanay Carrington, so they have a
Mm-hmm.
close connection. And she says, "Well, Carrington is always aggressive. I expect her to do those kind of plays. She's aggressive. No one's going to get by her easy. It's going to be hard to get by her." And so she kind of justifies what to me is clearly an intentional act of trying to harm this girl. She clotheslined that girl. I mean, hit
Oh
her in
man,
the neck and pulled her head back while she was in the air. I mean, most of us
she
can't
thought
jump
you were
off the
watching.
ground that high, know what that means, but she could have been seriously injured.
Most of us are wait for that for in football.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
got
yeah. In
both
football, you
sides.
can't do that either. You get in
Yeah.
trouble.
So my last thing,
Yeah,
you heard about that mother that's on trial for killing her 3 children?
sure.
Yeah. Well, they were showing she must have had 20, 30 different types of pills for her depression, anxiety, and suicidal tendencies.
Right.
So the doctors loaded her up with all these pills and sent her on her way.
Yeah.
No wonder she was all screwed up, Russ. Now, I'm not saying it's the right thing. She
Yeah.
didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
I'm just saying that the doctors helped her with her delusions. She told her husband she was having hallucinations and
Right.
stuff.
So
Now I blame the husband too because he should have taken those kids away from her.
I don't disagree with that thought at all. But
They interviewed him they interviewed him, and he said that she told me, at what point in time do you come in and say, you know what, I need to take the kids away from you? Because he asked her, do you think I should take the kids? And she said, no, I'm all right.
yeah, hindsight's a little helpful, but I agree with you on all those points. I really worry about this. These people that are constantly drugged up just to act somewhat normal, and the side effects of some of these medications, these psychotropics, are terrible. Some of the side effects of psychotropics is suicide. Trying to prevent it. And she did jump out a window. I don't know if you know that. She jumped out of a window
two-story window
to try to commit suicide and ended up being in a
Right.
wheelchair because of it. Now she's
Now
going
she's
to court
terrible.
in a wheelchair.
Yep. Yep.
And there's a lot of a lot of legal scholars that believe that her being in that wheelchair and her pathetic story, and it is a pathetic story,
It is.
is enough to make a jury look at that and say she's suffered enough already
Yeah.
and may not have to do any additional punishment for murder.
Well, she'll be
I
in a
have no
psych
idea.
ward for the rest of her life.
I have no idea. It's a
Oh,
whole messed up, sad story, man, from start to finish.
Yeah. But they were listing all the pills that she takes. Hell, you can hear on the damn commercials on some of these drugs for depression and all that,
Yeah,
and the side effects. I know 3 of them say possible suicide tendencies.
sure. Yes.
Yeah,
So they give them these pills because they're suicidal, and
Yeah.
to calm you down. But I don't know the industry that well, except from looking at it as an outsider. Man, it's sketchy. It's sketchy. I mean,
Yeah.
are they really helping people?
like the old Rolling Stone song, running to the shelter or going to the cover to get Mama's little helpers.
Yeah,
That's a different day today.
now look, he's still alive. He's like 80
Yeah, he's
something
still
doing yoga and live concerts. And
Yes.
he notoriously, the Rolling Stones had a lot, Mick Jagger, one of them. He's the one that's
Yeah.
doing yoga and all. Notoriously,
Look at-
they were the rough boys that were doing drugs and doing stuff like that. And the Beatles were the clean guys. There's only 2 Beatles left. I think all the Stones are still out there.
Keith Richard is still around. No, actually, Brian Jones was the first Rolling Stone to die
Yeah.
at a very young age. He drowned heroin. There's heroin.
that's
He
right.
was kicked out of the band. He was Brian Jones was kicked out of the band
Yeah, for drugs.
because of
Yeah.
for drugs.
Yeah, you don't show up to work for a few months, you're eventually gonna get replaced.
Exactly.
You just are.
Anyway, I wanted to bring some humor to your show this
Thank you.
morning
Thank
and
you,
some
buddy.
sad notes at the end. But yeah, there's a lot of funny stuff to talk about right now, especially with the Democratic. That one broad, forgot her name. She has red glasses. She was in an interview, and the guy goes, "So you want to tax the millionaires and blah 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 blah? How are you going to do it? How are you going to tax all these millionaires?" She couldn't answer a simple question like that.
Well, because
That
she doesn't know the system. She's way over her head. She doesn't understand what a governor does. And she
Yeah,
wants to defund police. She wants to close the prisons and kick everybody out.
What was her name? The talk show host that had the red glasses.
I don't
she-
remember. What, like Martha
Yeah,
Stewart or
Raphael
something?
No, Raphael, Jessica
Oh,
Raphael.
yeah.
Yeah, she had red glasses, and she was about as dumb as a block of blocks. All right, Russ, I'll catch you in the rebound, man.
All right,
Later.
buddy. Take care, man. Bye-bye. Yeah, Gilbert has to get back to work. It's honeydews, that kind of chores. He brought up a lot of some of the stuff I'm going to cover more thoroughly here in a minute. Yuma police released some body cam to debunk a viral post, a kidnapping post. I don't do a lot of social media, so I didn't grab it. Maybe I should do more. I'm busy. This video post claimed there was a 16-year-old girl that was violently abducted in Yuma. Well, police had to release some videos to say that it was not true. It's false. That didn't happen. This happened at 1:30 in the morning, the alleged incident. Well, there was an incident, but no kidnapping, apparently, according to police. It was at a liquor store at 1:30 in the morning, and a 16-year-old girl, and a lot of questions run through my mind. Why in the heck is a 16-year-old girl at a liquor store in the first place? And why is it at 1:30 in the morning, number two? What the heck's going on? The girl told officers, obviously officers were called, she'd gone inside for a non-alcoholic drink, which if you've ever been to a liquor store, most of them I think have signs and everything that you're not allowed in those stores unless you're 21. But anyway, and then when she was asked for an ID, she went back outside and gave a man money to buy it for her. Well, witnesses, because the police talk to witnesses, the girl was actually trying to buy vape, which is restricted. And that store did the right thing to say, nope, you're not going to do that. And so she gave money to a guy to buy the vape for her, and it was in a drive-through. Gave money to a guy. The guy didn't buy it, so she asked for her money back. He refused and started to drive away, and she grabbed a hold of the driver's side window frame. Very dangerous for a 16-year-old or anybody. At 1:30 in the morning. He drove for 260 feet with her dragging or running alongside. I don't know which is which. I didn't see the video. She let go of the vehicle. It came to a sudden stop, and she let go, and he took off. Well, I guess the rumor was she was kidnapped or something. I don't know. But the viral post that went around, and of course these things happen. I mean, they add to a story, make it up. It's partially true, and then they make up the rest. Said that the police failed to collect the surveillance footage. That the police didn't bother collecting the surveillance footage, which is not true. The store owner is the only one that could access the surveillance system, according to police. He was not available. They did not get the actual video until July 30th. There was a delay working with the store to get the footage. And that was 9 days later. This happened on July 21st. So they got the footage. So that's not true. It's not true she was kidnapped. It is true she wanted to go into a liquor store. It's not true that she wanted to get a non-alcoholic beverage. And that liquor store, if I'm thinking of the same one, well, there's a lot of them that have drive-thrus. Most every liquor store like that has a Circle K within a block. The ones I know have one within a block or two, a Circle K or something that you can go see if you really want a non-alcoholic beverage. Or even if you want an alcoholic beverage, Circle K sells that too. But they won't ask you an ID for going in. Somebody needs to talk to this 16-year-old girl. So the department said that releasing the body-worn camera footage was a direct effort to combat the misinformation about the incident because it was viral enough, getting enough calls, I'm sure. People complaining to the police department saying, look, why are you guys such bad police? They emphasized that the investigation remains ongoing and the conclusions about criminal conduct must be based on facts and evidence. We recognize that any report involving a juvenile and a possible abduction is a concern to the public. We welcome legitimate questions about how we serve our community. I think that was a very sober, direct, and nice message. They did a nice job. Since Gilbert mentioned it, I'm going to talk a little bit about the WNBA. Now, it's been a topic of mine that I kind of like. I've been enjoying understanding what's going on in the WNBA NBA with the coaches, the players, and all that other stuff. But but because it's amazing. I mean, I look at it, and what Gilbert says is funny. I look at it as just unbelievable. surreal. Like how can this league act like they act, and how can they say the things they say and tolerate the things they tolerate? So I'm very interested. I'm very interested in the human nature of it and just the social interaction and everything else these girls are doing. I mean, they are mean girls. They're racist. They're terrible. They're thugs in there. I mean, it is just amazing. And when you look at the NBA, you really don't have any of that. You got rivalry in the NBA, and some of it's boring right now. But to me, I don't watch NBA. I don't. I mean, they're spectacular athletes, spectacular players. The WNBA became of interest to me because of Caitlin Clark, like the rest of the nation, the Caitlin Clark thing. I mean, she was such a phenomenal star in college that when people really had these expectations of she was just going to run away with it in the NBA, the WNBA. And then to see the hatred from coaches, from media, that how dare a white girl step into the WNBA? You don't belong here. You're not gay. You're not black. I'm like, what? Is that the way the planet is right now? Can we have that kind of crap? Well, yeah, we do. These girls are mean. They're mean ones out there, some thuggy attitude. And it's supported by the coaches. It's supported by the media, a lot of it. And as Gilbert had mentioned, this Dejanay Carrington is one of the thug girls. Excellent player. She's got skills galore. A diva. And she plays and if she's not getting her way, she's going to hurt you. She tried to gouge Caitlin's eyes out like last year, I think it was. Said she was blocking a ball, but she brought those claws right down into her eyes. Thankfully, Caitlin was okay. And she had long fingernails and all that sharpened, it looked like. They're just thugs. These girls are terrible. And this one with Cunningham, I happened to be watching that game. Actually, Helen has started watching with me. Some of it's kind of exciting. The girls are playing. There's some skill level in there. I mean, they're actually skillful. There's a lot of. I mean, other than Caitlin, and Caitlin's brought her whole team up. The Fever was not a top team. It was a very bottom team. Even though they had some players on there that had some promise, they just weren't getting it together. There wasn't a team. It wasn't getting together, and Caitlin kind of brought that together. And she doubled the attendance for the entire league. She's got that kind of appeal. And that appeal has to do with what's on the court and what's off the court, I think. Part of my appreciation of Caitlin is how she acts as a professional and how she acts as an individual. She's not a thug, and she stays and signs autographs. She's not a diva. She talks to everyone, including to be a mentor to younger people. And a lot of these WNBA girls are too diva to do that. They're not going to. There's exceptions, but Caitlin is a standout because she's like the girl you want to know. To me, I don't want to know Dejanay Carrington. I'm curious about what makes her so angry and privileged. Well, this weekend she clotheslined Cunningham, Sophie Cunningham, who's become a star in her own right. She's the one that protects Caitlin by doing something similar to another player, although it wasn't as reckless and as dangerous. She pulled a girl forward and pulled her down. Dejanay Carrington, hit this clotheslined Sophie and brought her down onto her back or something, or her side. It'd be very dangerous. Dejanay did it probably because she just hates Sophie, is all I can imagine. I mean, Sophie's getting a lot of money. She's making tons of money. She's selling shoes. She's requested for events and stuff because she's a nice girl. She's tough. She's a black belt karate girl, but she's nice. She's open, and she's not a thug. But she will be an enforcer if she needs to be. But she's not looking for it. She's not doing it for advantage. She's doing it to keep the game. Like, look, the refs aren't calling plays. She'll. I mean, they're not calling fouls on Caitlin, and Caitlin's getting hurt. She's got to come out and make a point. Good for her. And she made millions doing that. And now there's a racial component because they say, and I'm talking about the commentators now, that says, look, Sophie became a rock star when she took out a player, not harmed her, but got a intentional foul. Which Sophie says, well, I did. I did. I expected to get ejected. Dejanay says, what? What, me? I didn't do anything. She's lying. And then she runs right into the locker room, which she had to. She was ejected, and writes that it was a racial, white privilege, which is just such BS. And you look at that and I think, wow, that's going to get her in trouble. No. People on Blue Sky and Threads are claiming she's right. It's racist because Cunningham got a foul and she didn't get called a thug. She was a hero. So it's obviously racist. Total different circumstance. Total different. Jamil Hill posted, Dejanay Carrington received a flagrant 2 and an ejection was the right call. But let's go back to that play that made Sophie Cunningham famous. Sophie Cunningham gained 1 million followers overnight. She is affectionately known as an enforcer. Nobody suggested she should be brought up on assault charges, and despite her play being clear retaliation. Correct on all those things. And it was retaliation. She said it was. And no, it didn't. She didn't do it in such a way that could have harmed the girl, I don't think. Pulled her down forward so that she could catch herself. Not clothesline her and knock her to the ground. Chanel Hill goes on and says, meanwhile, Janae Carrington was actually going for the ball, but she's being called racial slurs, a thug, and some suggestions, a suspension for multiple games. And all that's true. I don't call anybody racial slurs, and I don't support that. I think she's a thug. She's been called a thug for years because of her play. She's noted for rough play unnecessarily. And the circumstances behind what she did and what Cunningham did, totally different. Something Jamel Hill doesn't say anything about that outrageous comment from Carrington just minutes after white privilege, trying to create more hostility. Kerry Champion on Hill's sidekick said the question is a fair ask. Will Dejanay be applauded? Will she gain millions of followers and marketing opportunities? Well, the answer is no. Absolutely not. I don't think. I mean, there might be some thugs out there that say, good for her being a thug. I'm a thug. I want to support her, I guess. But Kerry says the league has a race problem. I think Kerry's right. The league does have a race problem. But it's not a problem about Sophie Cunningham. It's a problem about Carrington being a racist. Carrington's a racist. And that's obvious. Cunningham acknowledged that she should be ejected. She deserved it. And she didn't go to the locker room and cry about it, that I'm being mistreated. Cunningham delivered a receipt for a dirty foul on her teammate. Carrington, by contrast, and this is from the writer here of Outkick, Bobby Burke, committed a dirty play, as she's done throughout her career. 2 seasons ago, she jammed her fingernails into Clark's eye. Reporters asked Cunningham after the game about the comparisons between her foul and Carrington's. And Cunningham says, I think the league's taking care of that. This has nothing to do with race. Last year, I did the same thing, and I got kicked out, and I deserve to be kicked out. There's no reason even to play that card about race. See, that's why she got 1 million followers. That's why. Cindy Burnson on Threads wrote, Dejanay Carrington does not deserve a flagrant 2. That Sophie Cunningham is the one who should have been ejected, and that the white players in the WNBA benefited from reverse DEI. What the hell? Do you think that the teams in the WNBA brought on white players just because they were white? Heck no. I don't believe that. For me, they represent like less than 20%, like 19% of the players. 80% of the players are colored, of color. And a huge percentage, I don't know what that was, I've heard 30% are actually lesbian. And they're angry. They got a chip on their shoulder. And white people have been in the WNBA from the beginning. When Caitlin Clark joined, that's not new. The difference is she brought a huge audience, and she brought big money, not as a player, but for contracts for Nike and other stuff that the other players didn't get after 10 years or whatever, and some of them very good. But Caitlin brought a different attitude, and she made millions so far, millions on that stuff, on top of her excellent play and her smart play. She's more interesting to watch. She's like a surgeon out there versus a thug that just pushes and shoves. She works around you, and she feeds plays to other players to win versus trying to get diva recognition. So, yeah, she gets more and more fans every day because of that. And she puts up and tolerates the nonsense you people are throwing at it and stays strong. And I know many people thought they would drum her out of the league. And many said to her early on that the league's too rough, she'll never stand up. She's not physically strong enough and all that. And they have beat the snot out of her trying to prove that point, and it's not working. She's not going anywhere. And the league is in real trouble now. Do you know that they had to have a meeting this weekend, emergency meeting, to talk about what a woman is? Yeah. Because as Gilbert called in earlier, I think there's 3 players now. There's 2 prominent players that are saying they're eligible for the WNBA draft and they want to be included in the WNBA draft. They're applying as such. And then there's a Frenchman that's asking to get in too. That's been playing on the women's league in France for years. But he's a guy. He's a dude that claims to be a woman. And so they're panicking a little bit, according to many reports I'm reading, because in their explanation of rules and everything on gender, their policies don't explain it. Their policies don't explain it. Yeah. On the WNBA's collective bargaining agreement, Article 8, Section 1 states only players who are women are eligible to play in the WNBA. That's all it says. Now, that agreement's 409 pages long. It never defines woman or women. It doesn't define the terms transgender or gender identity. It doesn't appear anywhere in that document, nowhere. But yet, out of that 409 pages, they take great strains to detail definitions for dozens of other terms to make sure there's no confusion on what this term means. Doesn't define the word. So now they're having problems because now people that define themselves as women now, which are ex-NFL or NBA players that are very big, strong, and able to dunk the ball, and even though they've played for a few years and they no longer play in the the NBA, they qualify because they define as women. And they can't say, according to our eligibility policy, you don't qualify. Not true. They do. According to Royce White, a former NBA player, it's just astounding that the WNBA can't define the W in the name. I think we're going through a very necessary conversation about who actually is eligible to play in some of these sports leagues, I guess on both sides of the gender spectrum. My goal is to help elevate the WNBA. I think the ticket prices, the attendance will soar. I think the live audience will increase, and I think ultimately it's good for the game. It's going to help evolve the game, and that's exactly right, I think. It's going to evolve the game because we're going to have to look at it and make some real decisions here. We can't be wishy-washy and undefined about what a woman is. We're going to have to come up with a parameter of a woman, which don't get Ketanji Brown in there to do it. She can't define a woman. That's a Supreme Court justice. It's going to evolve the game. I mean, who would argue that a player like myself or Enes Kanter, Freedom, or in the future maybe LeBron James, after he expires in the NBA, maybe he wakes up and realizes he's a woman as well. Who could argue that wouldn't make the women's game better? I could argue it. I don't think it'll make it better. It'll make it very interesting for a short term. And then it's just going to be abusive to women. You can't do it in the long run. WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, of course, she's in the hot seat. She's in control of the league. She's the commissioner, and she's terrible. My understanding is she's not going to be there next year, but we'll see. She sent a letter to the teams on Friday expressing concerns about the inclusion of transgender athletes. All of a sudden, they're concerned. In the past, it was like, hey, if you say you're a woman, you're a woman. Now there's a concern. I know many of you have received questions in recent weeks regarding transgender athlete participation in women's basketball, and I expect this topic will continue to receive significant attention. I wanted to reach out to share how we are approaching these conversations in the league office, and I want to thank you for those who have responded to questions from the media with thoughtfulness and professionalism. We recognize that this is a complex and nuanced topic. It's not nuanced, a nuanced topic. And we will continue to have important conversations with all of you and the Players Association in the weeks and months ahead. We also plan to convene additional discussions and offer listening sessions for any team leaders who would like to participate. Your perspectives and feedback are invaluable, and I appreciate those who've already reached out to share their thoughts. I never thought that I would, let's see, Royce White, who is the NBA player who is wanting to be in the draft, he says, I never thought that I was a woman. I always trusted the science. I thought that I was a man my entire life. After further review, strong look at my personal preferences, it would appear, indeed, that sometimes I identify as a transgender woman. And I think that it's only fair that I get a chance to play with some of my queens here in the twilight of my career, my athletic prime. And he has been beat up a little bit on social media and some other things that people are accusing him of making fun or poking fun of this situation. And he's like, how dare you attack me for coming out? You know, that kind of stuff, which is priceless. It's just great. It's just great. He's sticking to it. And just getting back to the Dijonay situation of her taking out Cunningham and thankfully not injuring her other than a busted lip. Dijonay's gay. She's openly gay, openly supports transgender. Sophie Cunningham has, I guess 6 months ago, said in an interview that she's not anti-anybody. No, she's not anti-gay, anti-transgender and everything. Everyone's available at her table. But transgender shouldn't play in women's sport. We should protect women. A great, sobering way to handle it. And I think it's been suggested that's part of the reason that Dijonay attacked her. Let's take a phone call. Good morning, Mad Mike.
Well, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, sir. Good morning.
You look nice.
Well, you know, I think the camera worked out, and you know that Vaseline on the film helped clear it up. Yeah.
Okay. Went for the shiny look, huh?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
All right. Well, a few hiccups, but we're coming through loud and clear now.
Oh, good. I'm capable of that.
All right. You got a beat button handy?
No. So please be careful.
What I'm saying is not the N-word. Just sounds like it.
Uh-oh. Okay.
There's a Facebook meme with Yogi Bear and Boo Boo, and it says at the top, is it the, I'll just go N-words again, even though it's not ER, it's just ends in an A. It's the N-words again.
Yeah.
And Yogi responds, it's always the N-words, Boo Boo. Is that wrong to find humor in that?
Yeah, no. We should be able to laugh at it. Unfortunately, we're in a very sensitive, you know, I mean, all these.
And I get it.
Yeah.
Our ancestors were not nice.
No.
And, you know, but what a lot of people don't realize is that the first slave owner in America was a black. Owning another black.
Well, there were many black slave owners. You know, it wasn't the majority by any means, but there were many.
And it was...
Yeah, and it shouldn't matter anyway. I mean, we should look at our history as history, and these people, eggshells, look at it and chip on their shoulder. Yes. And they expect privileges and reparations and things. Not everyone. I mean, very few, but there's a few vocals out there that think, I read my ancestors were treated badly, so you owe me. Well, like, what does that mean? Yeah. That's crazy.
No, my ancestors maybe should have treated your ancestors better, but I don't owe you. And it was your ancestors or your ancestors' leaders, tribal leaders, that were selling off your other ancestors. And it, you know,
slavery.
It was a tough part.
Slavery wasn't
part of the
what?
Go ahead.
No, I said slavery was not confined to blacks. I mean,
No, of course
slavery
not.
is throughout biblical times. It's all over, but yeah, it's not.
And it's still going on. And it's a lot of it is from Muslims, you know, taking Christian and Jews, women and children, and doing horrible things. And it is horrible. It's just the attitude of, well, something bad happened in the past, so I deserve, you know, compensation or, you know, I don't know. The whole thug thing is, maybe it's entertaining, maybe it draws viewers, but I kind of doubt it. I think if anything, it turns people away. And it's just one more example of the divide. Our country, our world is in so many different divisions, and one group against another group, whether it be political, whether it be religious, whether it be, you know, racial. It's it's bad.
Yeah.
And it's a sign of the times, in my opinion, and things will probably only get worse before they're going to get any better.
Unfortunately, I think true. Um, I don't know what to do about it. I mean, we're going to have to live through it. There's no question.
Yeah, and a lot of people get butt hurt without going into too much detail. I had my first day of, you know, working with the cartel, and you know how much I made?
No.
$10.
Well, but you did it.
Uh,
You went and did it.
yes,
Okay.
and I'm learning their system, and there was some butthurt feelings because I put, you know, Walmart FH instead of Walmart 32.
Oh, foothills. Okay. Yeah.
I had already put that, you know, I was doing, I made much more money in my other gigs, whether it be, you know, Walmart or Sam's or the Home Depot. I got one last drop off of Home Depot to do this morning, and then I'll turn on my other apps and then get my daughter to school, and I'll maybe take a ride or two with these guys. But yeah, it's not. I don't know what's enjoyable to me is I could do whatever the heck I want. I come and go as I please.
Yeah.
It was so irritating to have certain hours set for me at the old place, and I had to be there. And you know, even if things were moving or not, I had to be there. And I spent most of my day just pushing out Facebook advertising posts, and it was boring as all get out. And so it has been a very, very good transition for me that I'm happy about, enjoying life right now.
Yeah. Okay.
And I got more
Are you
time
gonna go
to-
back and sell cars? You think, or is that?
Well, not with them.
Oh, well, I mean, it's
it
somewhere.
would have to be someplace. Yeah, you know what? We better keep this private, but I do have an idea in mind that I think would work, and I'll
Okay.
fill you in later. And
All
if
right.
I ever pursue that,
All right.
I will let you know, and we'll promote that. But for now, I'm just having fun driving around by myself, listening to you or listening to my loud ass rock and roll,
Okay.
and doing whatever the F I want
Well,
when I want.
keep doing that. You're old enough to pick and choose what you want to do. So,
Yeah. And get out of the sun when it gets hot.
you know how to do that?
I know how to do that.
All right.
Of course, the last couple of days, I've been helping either load up or empty my wife's truck and my buddy's trailer. We're cleaning out the garage. I've lived there for 17 years, had different renters.
Oh
moved,
gosh.
and there's been a lot of stuff that was just there. But the main thing I wanted to get was an old washing machine because I couldn't get it out on the big item day. And so that's been in the garage for a while. I finally got that out the other day, and we're cleaning it. It's all drywall. I could actually put in a AC or one of those what do they call them? Not the whole Mini splits.
Mini
I could put
splits,
in a mini split and make an office out there if I want. But what Gladys wants is she wants to be able to park her car inside also, like I do right now. I got half cleaned out from my Highlander, but we're gonna get the other
Yeah,
half
don't let him
cleaned
get a
out.
car in there. Just make it a man cave. Do what you want. All right.
Well, I could put up some more 2x4s and at least section off apart. That's for sure.
All right, man. We'll see you, buddy. Take care.
I'll be around.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Phone lines are open 928-941-0304. Gosh, it's already 7:10. Trailer fire in Winter Haven sparked a brush fire yesterday. And we were coming back from church, and Helen saw the fire. And I was hoping it was kind of like, when the farmers burn off fields. It wasn't. It wasn't. It was a trailer fire in Winter Haven, so over in California. Our neighbors right there, right by the border. Apparently, it was a trailer fire that spread quickly to a field and brush and all that. And I noticed there was smoke for many, many hours. I mean, it was still burning as of this report. According to Captain Diego Galindo, Imperial County Fire Department, we were able to save the main structure. The structure, we did a defensive attack on that. It was spread to nearby brush. Now it's about 50 acres. That's huge. Burning, from what they reported, they have a potential of about 100 acres available to burn. Hopefully they don't get it all. Don't know if it's out yet. Should be. I didn't see the smoke this morning. Of course, it was dark. Been hard to see. But when getting back from church, and I did take my grandkids. I made a mistake this morning, though. That morning at church. I have a 4-year-old grandchild, and I took him upstairs at Church for the City there to put him into the classroom. And I got confused about some of the signs are for 3 to 4 years old, and some are 3 to 4th grade, third grade. The 3 to 4 could be 3rd grade or could be age. Well, I stuck him in one room that was like kindergarten or something. I figured he's old enough for kindergarten. Well, he's not, but he seemed to enjoy it. And he's a big kid, and he's strong, and he's smart and articulate, and he jumped right in and played games and had it. And then he told his mom later, he got moved up to a better class. He's got games and stuff. And I was like, oh, good. I think that's where we'll keep him. I think he's eligible for preschool. Just it's not available where my daughter wanted to go yet. It's coming. It'll be in there. I think it's a pre-kindergarten or pre-K, not preschool, pre-K, and then kindergarten. Man, he needs some structure somewhere, man. Put him somewhere. That kid's busy. His mind's working. Keep him going. And then after church, the kids wanted to go to McDonald's. It's not like I want to grab something to eat, or I want to go to a restaurant, or I want a hamburger. I want McDonald's. McDonald's has done a good job of advertising and media stuff and all that, and getting it out there that kids love to come here. And so I brought them into town to the 4th Avenue McDonald's, where they have playground inside, air-conditioned playground and all that stuff, which the 4-year-old particularly, not, and I only had 2 kids out of the 6, only 2. I had the 4-year-old grandson and the 9-year-old granddaughter. The others were not available or not interested. But anyway, the 4-year-old won't even eat, It's like, hey, Grandpa, can I go play? Sure, go, man. Get him to eat his chicken nuggets. And there's only 4 of them. Ain't going to happen after that. He skipped an ice cream cone, a 99-cent ice cream cone, to eat that, to play instead of chicken nuggets. We took that all home. I'm sure he ate it later. He gets hungry. He burns stuff up. But the McDonald's, I guess, and I don't know what those playgrounds cost and having an extra room and all that. That's not cheap. That's not free. That's not cheap at all. I'm sure the insurance on it alone, because kids are going to get hurt in those things, or potentially get hurt. It's worth it. So I saw today, there's an article. It was about Wendy's. It's not about McDonald's, it's about Wendy's. But in the article, they said that McDonald's accounts for about 48% of the U.S. burger market in 2024. 48%. I had no idea. I mean, I know there's a ton of competitors out there, not just Wendy's and Burger King. The number twos are somewhere between Burger King and Wendy's is the number two. And you got so many regional players and everything else, but 48% is just like phenomenally crazy, especially with the prices they're charging now. I mean, when I look at the prices that they're charging, it's just not. Happy Meal doesn't make me happy to buy now. It's $6 to buy a Happy Meal. Of course, inflation, and I'm older, and I'm looking at it. So I remember a Happy Meal was $1.99, which it used to be. Yeah, but minimum wage was less. I mean, it's all adjustable. But the Wendy's has been the second largest burger chain in 6 years. For 6 years. I mean, for the last 6 years, they've been the second largest. And they just lost that to Burger King, which I found interesting from a marketing standpoint. Burger King, same-store sales jumped 8.5%. Wendy's same-store sales declined 7%. And it's a sixth straight quarter of contraction. And I guess the both of them are vying for the number two spot. They want to be number two. McDonald's at 48%. It's just amazing. And I know McDonald's is going through rewrites and redos all the time, trying to stay on top. So maybe that's why they do it. The CEO of Wendy's, Bob Wright, who lost his place, acknowledged that there's problems in the, acknowledged. Today, we are clearly not performing at our potential. Our traffic, our value portions, our franchise economics are not meeting our expectations. We have already begun taking action across 5 areas that we've identified to drive the turnaround. Rebuilding the quality menu at compelling value, marketing that drives demand, operational excellence, a digital appearance that builds frequency in restaurant as an engine. I'm really curious about how do you go about doing that? But it's little things that make those huge differences. And when you're talking about 8.5% over thousands of stores, I mean, these are huge differences. I mean, huge differences. Burger King, which just captured the number two spot, and I thought was kind of old and tired and dying off, changed. They changed up. And they poured their money into improving restaurants, advertising, and core menu, which I think are key. Its core menu was third, not first. You think the product. It's not always true. It's not always a product, but at some point it's going to be. Burger King had sluggish sales in 2022. So they started doing restaurant remodels, increased marketing spending, and you see a lot of businesses out there that they start getting into trouble. They start getting sluggish sales, so they start cutting back advertising. They start cutting back spending extra money, and then they usually perish. These guys changed. They started improving food quality, increasing marketing, all that kind of stuff. They focused on the Whopper. The Whopper is the signature burger, they call it. Kind of like the Big Mac from McDonald's. They had the Whopper. They made changes to the bun, its packaging, the mayonnaise. I didn't know they changed the mayonnaise. I'm going to have to go try one. According to Tom Curtis, and he's the U.S. and Canada president for Burger King, a lot of people are saying we're coming back for the first time in a long time. And they worked on the Whopper quality guarantee. And early on, they made, I remember it from, I think from high school or college, where, special orders don't upset us type stuff, that you can get it your way, have it your way. And that's at a time when McDonald's, if you wanted to say, like, I want mine without pickles, it just, everything went into slow motion. Like, you want what? You had to make something special. That was back then. You had to get a little. They gave you a ticket, so they call your number once your special order was ready. At least you got one then that wasn't under the lights for a long time, you know. but but they wanted to come back with a Whopper quality guarantee, and here's their guarantee. I remember seeing a commercial on it somehow that if you're unhappy with your Whopper, which they guarantee, you know, they'll redo it for you and then provide another Whopper for free at a future visit. And their sales are up 8.5%. I wonder how many people got in and got a free one. You know, if you have, call me. Let me know. Let me know you got a free Whopper. It says when we asked guests where we could do better, they gave us a lot of honest feedback, and now it's our responsibility to act on it. We're not going to get everything right every single time, but we're committed to seeing it intently and improving every day. When guests choose us, they expect high-quality food, orders made the way they asked, and a team that's where they need us. That's what these changes are about. We're raising the standard in the restaurant so every guest feels like they made the right choice. I'm gonna have to go visit them. You know, and I've been to McDonald's a few times in the last month because, you know, I'm taking the grandkids. The grandkids are asking about McDonald's and all that. And something about McDonald's is the personal interaction there is not good. You know, I'm not saying everybody's unfriendly and everybody's terrible, but they're few and far between, and they kind of ignore the customers now because everything is digital. You order digital. In fact, I order in the car before I go in on the app. And then I go in and watch them, and they don't seem to be in a hurry to get me taken care of at times. There just doesn't seem to be a lot of eye contact or a lot of acknowledgement that there's a customer. They're kind of like working in a assembly line, and they focus on the assembly line, you know, to get that stuff done. I'm not saying it's bad or good, but I kind of miss the friendliness. It doesn't seem to be very friendly. When I go there, I'm not ready to walk out. Yeah, but I don't. I think a lot of them have lost that. They've gone to more automation. But they're taking market share from the competitors, the Burger King, including potentially McDonald's. Curtis says the next generation of bun lovers are being exposed to Burger King. What that means, we've got a runaway for years to come. And I don't remember. It's been so long since I've been to Burger King, really. On 16th Street, they have one, like near the highway there. I think it used to have a playground in it. I mean, that could keep the 4-year-old busy. I don't know if it's still there. I don't know if they've remodeled it in, remodeled it out. Are they still going after that market? I have no idea. I know those things are expensive. Wendy's has faced a lot of leadership turnover. And I don't know if that's adding to their problems or if they add, you know, a lack of direction or whatever, but things are pretty simple, man. Treat your customers well and good products and fast and hot and ready and attentiveness, but I don't know. Longtime CEO Todd Penninger retired in 2024 after 8 years at the helm. Of course, they were already dropping by then. And PepsiCo, former PepsiCo executive Kurt Tenner succeeded him a little more than a year. He got an offer to go to Hershey and be CEO. And who wouldn't? You get kisses at Hershey. He went to Hershey Kisses. And then Wendy's CFO Ken Cook took over as interim chief until they got another one, which was Bob Wright. I guess they came in. He said, I returned to Wendy's because I believe we can fix our issues, and I'm excited to work with our team and our franchise, drive strong turnaround. I guess they got to find a niche. They got to find out what they stand for. McDonald's been revamping its burgers, testing new menu items. And I remember the McDonald's CEO on TV was, you know, testing his new burgers or tasting them, and he looked uncoordinated and he just looked terrible doing it, like he'd never eaten a burger before. I don't think he used a fork and a knife or anything, but I don't know. It just didn't look right. He got panned for it a little bit for doing that. I saw a little blurb that the human desalination plant, the desalting plant, is getting a permit renewal. And I was wondering when I saw it, why? I don't think they've turned that thing on in many years, and I had to look it up to see when did they turn it on yet last? And I thought it had been like 5-10 years or something. They turned it on. No, it was, gosh, last time it was turned on. I don't have the notes here. Like 2010. Let me. And I, gosh, I had all this on. I had this all up on my computer one time. I didn't write it down, but anyway, the cost. Let me see. I don't even have the cost here, but it's operating is it was like 2010 was the last time they turned it on. It's been sitting there forever and not being used. And it's ready to be used. And it's been used very little. See, I had it, but it's been used very little. It hasn't really had a function. And I know we've poured millions of dollars into this thing, and it's operational now. It is able to operate from what I understand. And they use the building, I guess, for Bureau of Land Management and all. But I wonder why they just don't tear it down. I don't think they'll ever fire it up again. It's been forever since they've used that thing. I wonder why. I mean, there's got to be a reason why we keep that thing, operational. We keep that thing, in working order. My understanding is it's always in working order. They can turn it on. I would imagine that the age of it and when it was built, that the efficiency of it is nothing like the modern machines. So I wonder if it's even worthwhile to even keep that thing alive. I mean, it confuses me as to why they do it. I don't know what our budgets are every year. I need to dig more into that, find out what our budgets are every year on that we're throwing money at this thing. And maybe there's a good reason to keep it. I don't know what that reason could be. I don't know. Flock cameras, I've been talking about them recently because they've been coming up in the news a lot. And I don't know if it's because I've been talking about them that I keep seeing more and more information about it, and more discussion. And maybe that's it. As discussion happens, more people becoming aware of the flock cameras and across the nation and bring up some objections. Well, Knox County, Tennessee Mayor Glenn Jacobs just called for a nationwide pause in the deployment of flock surveillance cameras on Sunday. He did that. He said the technology raises constitutional privacy and safety concerns and lack of sufficient safeguards. Jacobs said law enforcement should have access to tools that help solve crimes. Newer flock technology goes beyond conventional license plate reading and should not be deployed broadly until guardrails and an updated regulatory framework are in place. It's not about depriving law enforcement of the tools. It's about figuring out how these tools can be used to appropriate manner and is consistent with the Constitution. Which I'd like to know more. And these flock cameras apparently are what they're doing is they're writing down license numbers. I mean, they don't write it down. They just register them and record them on where they are. And they put them into, and AI looks at it and they can tell your movement, track your movement, where you go, where you've been. Your getaway car is not going to get away far if somebody's on the ball and grabs the information that's available in these flock cameras, which I don't know exactly how it works, but the Safety Lock is one of the leading vendors of the automated license plate readers. And this thing has exploded. They've been around for a long time, but it's exploded in popularity just recently with law enforcement, municipalities, businesses, and everything. And they recommend, or they estimate, there's between 80,000 to 100,000 flock cameras deployed nationwide. Much more than I would have thought. And there is no federal regulatory framework in place that governs flock cameras. The laws regarding license plate readers in Tennessee date back from 2014, with one minor update in 21. The technology has advanced significantly, so we want to, we want law enforcement to have the tools they need. At the same time, those tools have to conform to the Constitution, and that's the key word, to conform to the Constitution. So I spent a lot of time looking at that, see what they say. But Flock's own marketing, and I didn't know they marketed. They say it's present in 6,000 community or more than that, more than 1,000 business, and more than 5,000 law enforcement agencies nationwide, resulting in billions of vehicle scans per month. Billions a month. And AI collects all that data. Now, they say the data collected is deleted after 30 days by default. I don't believe them. maybe I'm just skeptical on that. Delete it, unless an agency establishes a different retention period. Okay. And increasing, obviously, they said that the lawmakers in the state Freedom Caucus are seeking to ban the AI-powered cameras statewide, arguing technology violates citizens' Fourth Amendment rights. It's one thing to say it violates the Fourth Amendment. I don't think it does. Of course, I'm not a lawyer, because it's obvious that if they're taking pictures of your car moving down the road, you're in public, and when you're in public, you have no Fourth Amendment protection. So I read into the Fourth Amendment today, and what they call a surveillance warrant. There is surveillance warrants. That if you're a suspect in a crime or something like that, they can go down to a judge and get a surveillance warrant. And I was led to believe by one of the articles I read that a surveillance warrant is if you wanted to follow a suspect, you needed a surveillance warrant. Well, that's not true. Surveillance warrant is for surveilling what otherwise would be privacy, like phone calls, digital stuff, Facebook, things on your phone and stuff like that. That's surveillance warrants is what that is. It's not just following somebody. Somebody in the public can drive around, and there's an expectation of privacy. Is where the warrants come in. Is when you have an expectation of privacy, like inside your house or inside your notes, your logbooks or whatever. Expectation that that's your private business, and it's not anybody's business. And the country would need a warrant to get that. I'm going to read the Fourth Amendment a little bit for you real quick. It's short. The right of the people to secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. So it's pretty short. I like that about the Founding Fathers. Short and simple, unlike today's rules and laws where they put 900 pages behind it. And saying that it's unreasonable intrusions. To see somebody in a car and write down a license number is not an unreasonable intrusion by most people's now. To claim a violation of the Fourth Amendment right as the basis for suppressing relevant evidence, courts have long required that the claimant must prove that they were a victim of an invasion of privacy to have a valid standing. The Supreme Court has departed from such requirements on an issue of exclusion to be determined solely upon a resolution of the substantive question, whether the claimant's Fourth Amendment rights have been violated, which in turn requires that the claimant demonstrate a justifiable expectation of privacy, which is arbitrarily violated by the government. And it has to do with the government. It has nothing to do with private individuals or anything. It's the government. You have an expectation of privacy from the government. I don't know that the flock cameras do that because you're in the public. And I understand the impact on the population when they know that their every movement in public is being documented, recorded, and seen. And it's not a secret that I went to the movie theater or that I went to a bar or that I went to the grocery store or whatever the thing is. that it's all being recorded. Your movements are being recorded. I don't know that that's a Fourth Amendment violation because you're in the public. The expectation. But what people are complaining about right now is that AI is accumulating that information and that exposes more than I want exposed. Even though I'm in the public doing it, nobody can really put it together except the AI can because it's taken all that information that Mega down. The U.S. Patriot Act back in 2001 changed a lot about storing of information, the metadata data and all that. And we know it's gone wrong. We know it's been accessed when it shouldn't have been. We were lied to about when it was to be available, when it was not going to be available, and then people won't see it or misuse it, and they did. They have. And I think that's part of it too, and that people feel we can't trust you. The government. We can't trust you, so why should we give you any additional opportunities to destroy us? I understand it. I don't know how you make this part of the Constitution. I don't. I mean, maybe you could make some laws or something about it that's separate from the Constitution about the accumulation of this, and the AI put it all together, which they could. They could put it all together, but these flock cameras are not going away. And if there's 100,000 of them deployed today, imagine there'll be 200,000 within a few years. They're all over Yuma, by the way, and they are recording you. Tow truck drivers are recording you. They drive around looking for license number, and I was told that they drive around looking for license numbers in case they get a call for repossession. So if you don't make your bill to your bank, and you say I'm not going to pay for my car, eventually that car's going to be repossessed. These tow truck drivers have been doing this for a long time, and they've been recording habits on where you go. They drive through malls, they drive through parking lots, and Walmart, everything else, and the computers are automatically picking up all the license numbers. Well, then when they get a repossession notice, they can look back at their records and say, well, this guy goes to the mall every day at 2 o'clock, or he parks his car on the road out on this street every night. So that's where he leaves his car. And they just go pick it up. They know where it is. My question is, if they're deleting it every 30 days, how is collecting all that information any good? Wouldn't they want more of a history than 30 days for the tow truck drivers? I would think so. I can't imagine them just being happy with the 30 days. So I don't know. I have no idea. But I have more questions than I did. And I think I don't believe the 30 days. Maybe it's true in some cases. They said there's exceptions. I think there's probably more exceptions for letting on. I need to take a break, and I'll be right back. This is Russ Clark with Mortgage One.
election victory in Arizona, a very important swing state where we saw election victory in Arizona, a very important.
Mortgage One Studios, Russ Clark back with you. It's 7:44 on a happy Monday morning. Abdul El Saeed, the Michigan. Well, let me take a call from Mike W first. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning, sir.
How are you?
Did you ever take a survival class? Well, maybe not, but in the military, they sent us to these survival schools, and there was always a time devoted to edible plants.
Yeah.
And the rule of thumb for edible plants, if you didn't know, if the animals don't eat it, don't eat it. That applied back in the caveman times, and it applies today.
Wow, that sounds pretty
I have
smart. Yeah.
a McDonald's hamburger and a little bag of fries that has been sitting outside behind my trailer for 3 months.
And the animals aren't eating it?
That's the point. Not even the ants. No, don't laugh.
That's crazy.
Don't laugh.
That's crazy.
Because you called it quality food. It's not food at all.
Oh,
At least when you and I were kids, McDonald's was real meat. All that stuff was real.
uh-huh.
Today, the animals have nothing to do with it anymore.
Wow.
And that is what do you think about that?
I think it's a real concern. Now, McDonald's is nothing I frequent or go to. I just don't. I'm doing it for my kids, my grandkids.
Right.
I'll go in there. But yeah.
But and I used to. I did it for a while until I had so many cats. I felt sorry for them. I used to put a can of tuna out for them, and boy, that in an hour it'd be gone. A couple of days ago, I put a can of Starkist tuna out, and it's still there.
Crazy.
So, I don't know. Take that what you want to do with that information, but I
Well,
don't know why. And again, I don't want to attack you. I don't know why anybody would want to give McDonald's to a kid.
I'm
I
reading
don't know
a,
why.
yeah, I just brought this up on AI. It says yes, McDonald's uses 100% real beef in all its their burger patties with no fillers, additives, or preservatives, according to McDonald's corporate info page. I don't know how they can lie
You know
about
that.
that, but yeah.
You know that term 100%? That's a legal term.
Okay.
It's got so much meat in it they can say 100%, but it's only the meat, the 100% of 1%. You know, it's like all these
Oh, okay.
different terms,
Yeah.
these
The,
legal terms. You
the,
know, what is chicken? You ever open up a McNugget?
your point's exactly right. In other words, you're saying they use 100% real beef. They're not telling you what they're giving you is
Right.
100% of
That's a
beef.
legal term to be
Yeah.
able. That's just like
Yeah.
the term
Okay.
or what organic is turned into.
Yeah.
You know, nobody trusts that term anymore. But the thing
Yeah.
about it is, if you ever ripped open a McNugget, it's whipped chicken fat, and it's hardened,
Wow.
and
That
there's enough
sounds
chicken in it. There's enough chicken in it to call it chicken legally. That's how they
really
get around that.
okay. I don't know. I've never dissected any of it. I've never looked at it that close.
And you know, it's free to do, Russ.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a
So,
big, fast food guy. I usually cook.
well, I think one of the things one of the problems that we as a society have run into
Oh.
is that the fries no longer sells us food. It looks like food, but it's no longer food. It's like the seedless watermelon.
Yeah.
That's that. That's not that. What's a GMO plant.
Yes, it is.
Why would you? And you can't find a watermelon with seeds. You can't find grapes with seeds.
Yeah.
I'm just we that is one aspect of society that we need to fix, and we need to fix fast, because at least you and I, a good portion of our adolescence when we were developing, were eating real food.
Mhm.
The kids nowadays aren't even getting. The kids nowadays are starved. But I
Well,
want to ask another question. I'm
okay.
leaning toward this fiasco in women's sports.
I love the story. So yeah, go ahead.
Um, why does Starbucks sell $5 a cup coffee?
Because people stand in line and demand it.
Because people buy it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You remember when you used to go to the diner and you'd get 25 cents and you'd drink coffee all day long?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Well, I've heard of it. I don't know if I've had it that
My
cheap, but it's
God, what
been
do you mean
cheap.
you
Yeah.
heard of it? You didn't grow up with that?
Mm-mm. I never went to a diner as a kid. I didn't go to a restaurant until I was 16. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, everybody who's crying about what's going on with Caitlin Clark,
Hmm.
you know what? And they say, well, what can we do about it? What can we do about it? Stop patronizing it.
Well, yeah.
Let me step to the side a little bit. Let me ask you a
Okay.
question.
What's that?
Is there just a little bit of communism that's okay?
No. What do you mean?
Is there just a little bit of socialism that we should incorporate?
I don't think so. Well, you mean because we have socialistic programs like Social Security or something?
No, that's where the Democrats make their argument.
They
And
do.
again, it's like, but it's not the same thing.
You're correct.
It's
It's
not.
not.
You're not talking apples and apples.
Correct.
They talk about the regulations on a road, the depth of asphalt. No, that's not socialism. That's just practical.
Yeah.
When they started Social Security, it was kind of practical. We paid into it. That's not socialism. That's not communism. That's my money that I want back, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to talk apples and apples. But I guess are you trying to say that Social Security is a little bit of communism? That's good.
No, I'm not. I was asking if that's what you meant by a little bit of communism. Are you talking a little bit
No,
of, okay.
not one thing. Not one thing about communism is good. Socialism is good. Marxism is good. So, but what is the premise of those things? Is to tear down society. And look what the feminist movement has done to the women today. And my God, if I was a woman, and I'm not seeing any of our women, our women should be the ones that are front and center arguing about that.
Yeah.
What is it, we are at a time when you have a woman with a PhD can't define what a woman is. And I'll tell you what, a transgender person has more propensity to die of prostate cancer than to die of cervix cancer. How's that for a definition?
Well, all of it is ridiculous. And I think it's um, starting to get exposed more and more of the ridiculousness
But
that it is.
the ridiculousness of it is it needs to be put down.
Yes.
And it's not put down by big tents. It's not put down by reaching across the aisle. It's not put down by being quiet at the dinner table. We 98%, and I will stand by this, and the more and more I see it, they are 2% of society running roughshod over us.
Yep.
2% of society running roughshod over us. And the reason why that is because we buy a 25-cent cup of coffee for $5.
Well, that's just good marketing. That's not socialism.
I'm not talking of the socialism aspect. It's to tear down society. Look what they've done. They tear down. They attack each institution. My God, when are they going to stop? They feminized the NFL.
Well, they're not going to stop.
And they masculinated the women's basketball and women's sports.
They want to create chaos and break down the institution. And they do that by tribalism, driving us against each other, all those kinds of things. Yeah.
You look at a 13-year-old young boy and a 13-year-old young girl, and they're athletic, and they want to follow that. At some point, the 13-year-old girl, she can't go any further, and that should be the article of today. You can't compete in. You go to you achieve the point of being an Olympian contender. That's once in a lifetime.
Yep.
You miss it. You miss it. That you have one chance at that. And a little girl, she can't achieve that if you allow men to be and compete with her.
Correct.
We didn't learn with that swimmer. We didn't learn with that swimmer, and we're not learning with Caitlin Clark.
Riley Gaines. Yeah.
And wait a second, Riley Gaines.
Yeah.
They just found out her DNA that its DNA is masculine.
No.
Didn't I think they did? Didn't they kick her out?
Oh no, you're talking about the NBA. Riley Gaines was a swimmer. You're talking about the
Who am I thinking? Brittany Griner.
Yeah, Brittany Griner. Yeah.
Brittany Griner.
They have not kicked her out to my knowledge, but she was she was arrested in Russia and put in a male prison because they know she was male.
Huh?
She was in a male prison in Russia when she was arrested.
That didn't get any traction, did it?
No, it did. But they didn't put her in a male prison to punish her. They put her in a male prison because they saw her as a male. That's all.
What I'm saying is this. It's time for people to start speaking up and not being a coward.
Yeah.
It's time for people to see It's you know what? When you see that old lady in Fry's still wearing a mask, you should shame that person.
No,
It's about time you take that mask
she's already
off.
got a lot.
You can't
She's
because
got a
it's
lot
an
of.
old lady.
She's got a lot of problems already. I'm going to leave her alone, man. I'm not going to mess with her.
But I'll tell you what. I'll bet $100 that woman is a Democrat.
You would probably win that more often than lose for sure.
So, last night I had to, every once in a while I have to take a break from all this stuff because it's it is as painful as it is funny.
Yeah.
But I watched the Boston Celtics against the Lakers
Yeah.
back when basketball was basketball. You had the Larry I can't think of his name.
Larry Bird.
And Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
That you had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You had all those great players, and you're watching that in the championship. It's just a beautiful game. It's a beautiful game.
Right.
And then I went and I had to watch the Patriots play the Falcons when they came from like a 30-point deficit at halftime, and you just watch that game being played out. Football isn't like that anymore, but it used to be a great thing to watch. That was our escape, and that was an institution that the liberals have destroyed on us.
It's still popular. It's still out there. I don't watch football anymore, not since the knee
I don't
started
either.
going on, but I used to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Since what?
Since they started taking a knee with Kaepernick and all that.
Oh yes, absolutely. I have nothing. I have no I don't watch it. I don't even know who the players are today.
Right.
But every once in a while I got to go back and feed that. And you go back and back when men were men and women were women. And you even look in the crowds, you even see the masculinity and the femininity in those crowds cheering or reacting. And we need to get that back. We need to start thinking about that 13-year-old young man and that 13-year-old young girl, and to give them a future in sports.
Oh, I completely agree. And I think it's going to work out, Mike. I do.
Oh,
And I'm always positive, but I think these NBA players that have come forward and said, I qualify for the draft, you need to put me in. These guys are monsters. I mean, compared to the females, they can dunk and they would win every game by large margins. And I think what they're doing is just showing the ridiculousnl of it. And I think they're
absolutely,
heroes. I
agree.
think they're protecting women.
But there's three guys that are on Caitlin's side. But Larry Bird is the guy's name. I couldn't think.
So is Michael Jordan.
Four, Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
Charles Barkley,
Yeah.
and Shaq O'Neal.
Yeah. They're all on. Yeah. And a lot of the NBA players are confused about how the WNBA can keep destroying themselves and destroying their own chances. That they got Caitlin Clark that's bringing them millions of dollars in additional revenue, lifting the boat in every harbor, and they're tripping her and punching her.
I thought money talked. Well, not with liberals.
No.
Their ideology talks.
You're exactly right. They're more concerned about the ideology, and it's about pride. It's like, we built this league, we made the league. We're not letting a white straight girl come in here and show us how it's done. And they smash her. It's a shame. It's a sad thing to watch. In fact, I didn't watch it for a while because I didn't want to see her get beat up anymore. But recently,
No.
the league's starting to protect her.
Now, I have come to like Ronda Rousey,
Yeah, I do too.
but I hate women's boxing.
Why?
I don't think women have any should not be in boxing. I don't want to watch two women beat the hell out of each other.
I've known a lot of good women boxers here locally, and they
Yes,
wonderful athletes, wonderful people. And I'm not going to tell them they can't do it. I'm not.
But getting back to your friend, this all goes. I'm still talking. This conversation is about Caitlin Clark and women's basketball. You look at who's that female black congresswoman,
Jasmine
Crockett.
Crockett. Yeah.
And the thing, you talk about your friend's conversation about the N-word.
Uh-huh.
Jasmine Crockett supposedly graduated from a law school.
Yeah, a prestigious one. I don't remember which it was.
You got to have some savvy about English grammar, don't you?
Or get DEI. Oh, well, she did. If you see old tapes of her, she speaks like a normal
Yes.
person.
And here you have her representing blacks
Yeah.
with that wigger ghetto pole dancing crap.
Intentionally. Yeah, she does it. She turns it on and off when she needs it. Yeah.
But the thing about it is, you would think at some point you would be a champion for your race, or you would be a champion for for the black striding, and to succumb to that for an organization called the Democrat Party
But Mike,
I think is so pathetic.
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. I mean, I agree with you about wanting to be a champion and a role model for human beings, a role model for your community, a role model for your state. But when you start saying, but are you a champion for white people? I wouldn't think so. I would say you're a champion and a role model for my state, for my community.
Let me pare that down a little bit.
What?
If I'm going into let me pare that down a little bit. Jackie Robinson, Lou Alcindor before he was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You had the first blacks. Even Bill Russell.
Right.
They had to put they put up with some really crappy social crap.
No question.
But they themselves said they put up with it for the future blacks that were following them.
I think that's acceptable, completely. I mean, the history of our country during that time was when I look at it in today's standards, I'm like, wow, it's unbelievable that stuff happened, but it did, and we need not forget it. But to say that it's still happening is ridiculous. And when the Jasmine Crockett's come forward and say, well, why what?
Oh, go ahead.
No, when Jasmine Crockett and stuff come forward and say, the blacks are being mistreated and all that stuff, because I saw a micro expression the other day, and just because they drive limos and wear expensive suits doesn't mean we're past racism and stuff. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Well,
I am not a racist.
We all face problems in our
correct.
Every day. I mean, do people get bullied that are not black? Yeah. Do people that get tripped and forced out of things and stuff for lots of reasons, like Caitlin Clark? Sure, they do. But somehow blacks figured that I'm the only one that suffers pain, and nobody understands it but me. Yeah, that's crazy.
I have one thing to say to the Democrats who force these stupid, ignorant blacks to ask for reparation.
Yeah.
How about the 300,000 white Union soldiers who gave their lives to free you?
Well, and that's just practical, Mike. I mean, you're saying we're all in it together. I mean, everyone suffered from something, and I'm not supporting what happened during slavery or during during the early 1900s and stuff when things were stupid. I mean, it's unacceptable. But so's unacceptable what they're doing today with the DEI and all that crap. It's the same thing. You're tribalism and separation, and we treat people differently, and that's just crap. And we need to get away from it and start treating people the same.
Russ, it exists because we allow it.
Yeah.
The Democrat Party doesn't exist unless the Republican Party lets them act the way they act. Society does not exist if 98% of society tolerates the 2%. That's all what I'm saying.
Well,
there's no need for it.
I think we tolerate everybody. We accept everybody, but we don't start following the 2%. We don't start following the 3%. We recognize what they are. We don't have to change them.
How did we get to pronouns? How did we get to boys and women's bathrooms?
Because you're right. We followed that, and we're stupid. no question. And we need more people to stand up and say this is ridiculous. And
We
and I
didn't
think
follow it.
I think we're getting it
We
now.
we backed down and we allowed to happen, let it happen. That's why I will bring up this
Oh,
argument,
no,
and,
no.
and this is going to hurt you.
What's that?
It's going to hurt you.
Go ahead.
But the American Christian let prayer be taken out of schools. Understand this, without a fight. The American Christian let the Ten Commandments. Why are you laughing?
I'm not. But go
The
ahead.
American Christian allowed the Ten Commandments to be taken out of our institutions without a fight. And the most sacred symbol of God to humanity was the rainbow. And we allowed, think about that, that rainbow, that symbol from God himself, we allowed to be hijacked by a most obscene part of society without a fight.
Okay.
Without a fight.
I think
Without a fight.
Christians somehow have not engaged for some reason, and I see a change in that
so
also. I see that.
My end game on Caitlin Clark is,
Yeah.
no, it's no wonder this is happening when you look at those three things that were allowed to happen without a fight.
Mhm. Well, you say without a fight. I think there's millions and millions of fans that are fighting for her. I think they're calling, they're writing letters, and they're putting pressure on that league to change. I think those NBA players are putting pressure on that league to get real. And I think it's working, and I think it's going to happen. I see the referees already are doing a better job of being real and fair when they're calling shots. And we're never going to get perfection, but at least it's not completely one-sided. I think it's working. I think people are standing up, and I think Christians are starting to stand up more and more, and not apologize for being a Christian.
But I'll tell you what, when you watch her play and you watch her and Cunningham play, it's
It's a thing of beauty.
it is a great thing to watch.
It is. It's teamwork all of a sudden. It's not about diva. It's not
There
about
you
all
got
me,
it.
me.
There's the word.
Yeah.
Team.
It is teamwork.
And Marxism hates that word.
Yeah. And they're not the only ones. They're the whole team. And their number one scorer, what's her name? Gosh. The I'll get it in a minute. But her number one scorer is a black woman, and she's been around for a long time, and she had a chance to get out of the league, and I mean to go to another league, free, she could set herself up to be traded, and she said no, she wants to stay because it's Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell. She wanted to stay because she wants to stay with Caitlin Clark. And you know why? Because it's teamwork. And Caitlin knows that she's got to get double, triple teamed, and she sets Kelsey up all the time to score. She throws it to her. She is same with Boston, the center, another great player that's getting a lot more recognition because of Caitlin Clark is passing it to her, getting and playing teamwork, and they're doing a lot more sharing. When Clark first started, Kelsey Mitchell was a ball hog, and she was terrible at it. She'd drill all over the place and do all that, and she's now sophisticated, and she's calmed it down to where she gets the ball, she shoots because Caitlin's feeding it. And Sophie Cunningham saying she was a star in Phoenix, but she's elevated hugely because she's on the team with Caitlin, and it's all about the teamwork, man. And that's why people love her. It's not just because she's a great scorer and everything. It's because how she reacts. And these other divas in the WNBA just don't get it.
Well, that's my 10 cents.
Thank you, buddy.
Address that. It's just ridiculous that we are living at a time when we're allowing this to get as far as it has, and we need to start speaking up and not be afraid to be called a jerk.
But I see the positiveness. I see more and more people speaking up, Mike, and maybe I think it's happening, and I think it's happening in WNBA and it's happening in other places. So especially with and part of the biggest help we've got right now is Democrat Socialists of America. I say it's a help. It's a help in that people are saying, wait a minute, now it's too far. Wait a minute. And the ones that we're giving in, it's just this, it's just that. And there's a lot of people pushing back now. Thank goodness.
Well, we got to somehow extract that 40% of registered Republicans to get out there and vote.
Of
So
course.
that we could give this man the House and Senate with a large majority to get done the things
Of course.
that we want him to do. If he has the House and the Senate with a large majority, an undisputed majority, and that's possible, everything that everybody is complaining about him that he's not getting done, he's going to get done like a wildfire.
Yep. I agree with you, buddy. I appreciate the call.
You have a good day, sir.
Thank you, man. Bye-bye. And of course, that was Mike on the multiple subjects. A couple things I want to talk about. He talks about 40% of the Republicans that are not voting to vote. I think more Republicans will vote when we get the integrity issue situated. And there's a lot of people out there that are just jaded. They think like, well, why should I vote? Because they're going to cheat anyway. The integrity issue, we can't track it. We don't have, like in California, they can't take an ID. We don't know, anything about where the vote goes and how it goes, and we suspect everybody's cheating. That's all fair. You take care of that integrity issue, I think more people get engaged. That's why the left is so afraid of it. Not only do they benefit from the cheat, they're afraid that it'll be. They'll be afraid the Republicans will step up and come to vote if they know it's safe. Let's talk to Mike again. Hey, buddy, what'd you forget?
You're absolutely wrong.
What?
That vote is the most sacred thing next to Jesus Christ. Men died to give, I'm not saying you, sir.
Oh.
Men died to give your chance to vote. That's what makes America. And
Okay.
if you don't get out and vote, if you have some trumped up Democratic excuse to not vote, you are a traitor. You're a traitor to the men who lie under white headstones.
Buddy,
vote means
I appreciate your passion and focus, and I agree with you. I think everybody should vote. We still live in a free country where you're not forced. But I think it's an honorable thing to do. Yeah.
How you can have a brain and make the decision that you don't want to vote because of some stupid idea.
Because people don't have your experience, they don't have your understanding, they don't have it, and they haven't been trained it. They've been going to school that's been watering things down. They don't know the history, is why. And that's what we need to do. Is we need to teach them, not berate them, but we need to show them for sure.
And that's where you come in, then, I guess, because nobody's going to listen to me. But the thing about it is, now you've got people who don't even want to stand in line one day out of their freaking life.
Yeah.
They'll stand in line for this, they'll stand in line for that, but they don't want to stand in line to do this thing that men have died for, to give you that right.
I know a lot more people will do it, I tell you, when the integrity is 100% locked down. There's some people out there that still believe, look, they're cheating, they're lying. Why should I stand in line for a lie that's not going to matter anyway? And I think Trump did the right thing when he said, too big to rig. Like, look, if we really get together, we're going to overwhelm the rig. And he was right. Not only did it overwhelm the rig, he got the popular vote, which was not expected because of California and New York.
Hope this stuff works.
I
But
do.
not to say you, sir.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, men lay under white headstones to give you that right to vote. And, I don't know how else you're not an American. You don't deserve to live in this country. You're less than a Somalian.
Well, I understand your opinion. I do. I appreciate the call.
Anyway, have a good day.
Thank you, man. Bye-bye. And of course, Mike, obvious military, feels very passionate. And I know a lot of military that do that, they fought. And it would be nice for everybody that they wanted to get involved in that. And he talked about the 40% of Republicans. I think integrity is going to go a long way. I think if the SAVE Act, that's how important it is. And of course, it's not. We know it's not going to pass right now because they're on break. They went to break, and they keep giving us a little hope that it's the Senate that little hope that more people are going to come forward and support it, and then they go to break. So it's disappointment that it doesn't. But I never got my hopes up too high. I was hoping, but it didn't happen at this point. But that bit of integrity is going to make a difference when they get that done. Let's talk to Gilbert. Good morning, Gilbert.
Hey, I forgot to tell you two things this morning.
Yeah, man.
One, did you hear about the solar panel company that wants to put solar panels in our hunting area? 37 Alpha, I believe, 37A. They want to use our state land to put solar panels in.
Yep. And that's the
You
one
did-
out by
Tucson?
oh, in
Around
Tucson.
that
No,
way?
I wasn't sure. I was thinking about the one out in Roll out in that area out there. But you're talking Tucson? No, I don't know that one.
37A, yes. 37. Well, I believe it's for. I know I got a phone call from Mr. Buteras telling me about it.
Okay.
And I go, oh, he's supposed to call you today or tomorrow and tell you more about it. But yeah, they want to put solar panels, a solar panel field in the hunting area. We got lots of desert. We can do that.
Yeah.
Lots. And
Oh,
what the heck?
I don't know how they come up with that.
I don't either. Well, I actually sent me. I'll see if I can find that picture and I'll send it to you. Where they're telling the community we want to put a solar panel farm out here, and also this coming Saturday, the 15th, at Izzy's restaurant. My favorite restaurant. I just came from there. We like to say the Republic. So, do you want to see the Republic? Mad Mike, Crazy Mike, do you want to sell the Republic? Say the Republic? Well, so do we. The Foothills Republicans invite you, all conservatives, to a meet and greet featuring Yuma County Darren Simmons, Yuma County Supervisor.
Uh-huh.
Bring your thoughts, your local issues, current events, political candidates are welcome in the state of Arizona and the Republic. Let's all work together to make Arizona and the United States great again.
And that's 15. Is that Friday?
No, that's Saturday.
Saturday.
Saturday the 15th
And what time?
at 8 o'clock. That's when the meeting starts. Come early if you want to have some breakfast.
All right, man. I appreciate the call.
Right. And there's one more thing I was going to tell you. I have a brain fart and lost it. But anyway, we're working hard. We're working hard at this.
Uh-huh.
And you're right, Russ, there is a lot of people up there doggone upset about the elections that we've had.
Sure.
All the stuff that's coming out from the 2020 elections, all the shenanigans that went on,
Sure.
that we were trying to prove it. And the only way to get it back together is to get these voting places corrected. Look at all the shenanigans that happened, and we need to get rid of those judges.
Right.
We need to get rid of the judges. And one more thing, I have a thing here from Daniel that they are having a town meeting this Saturday, and they're inviting Congressman Grijalva to this town meeting so they can talk about the issues.
She's not coming.
Oh no, but she has an invitation,
Yeah.
and that's what's important.
Right.
She's invited to talk about the policies there.
And that's
Not
going to be
today.
that's going to be in Tucson, right?
That's going to be in Tucson, right?
Okay.
And they want her to come in and talk about the issues. Let's get together, talk about the issues. No need to put each other down. Let's just talk about the issues and let's resolve the problems that we have here in the state of Arizona
Right.
and work together as one. But she is invited. They did send her a letter inviting her to the South Tucson Town Hall, Saturday, August 15th at 9 a.m.
Well, if you go there, you're not going to make the breakfast in Yuma.
No, I'm going to be here in Yuma because
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I got to get it together here. But there's a lot of. Oh yeah, one more thing. You got the Yuma Daily Sun there in front of you?
I do not.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, maybe you can look it up on your computer. They're talking about why does the city of Yuma bring in out-of-town lawyers to do stuff in Yuma? Maybe
Well,
you can look it up there.
That's kind of common, but I would like to read that article, see what the see what the complaint is and what the solutions are.
Yeah, because I brought that up many times, and I've seen a lot of people. Apparently, we have what 4 or 5 lawyers hired by the city.
Oh, inside the
Um,
city?
what-
Oh no,
Yeah,
we got tons of lawyers, but probably not enough. I don't know.
yeah, but why do we have it? Okay, you said tons of lawyers.
Yeah.
Okay, so why do we need to get out of town lawyers?
Good question, and it might be because of expertise or something. At some points, some complex issues and stuff.
You know what, Laura? I'm sorry, Russ.
Yeah.
And I love my city. Don't get me wrong, I love my
Yeah.
city, but we're always talking about saving money.
Correct.
Why do we have different lawyers for different situations instead of hiring one lawyer that's good or a few lawyers that are good?
Well, I mean, there's people that specialize, just like doctors specialize. Some are heart doctors, some pediatricians,
I
whatever. But
I
lawyers are no
understand.
different. I mean, there's a lot of lawyers that specialize just in divorces, or lawyers that just specialize in RICO cases or criminal defense. Yeah.
No, we're talking the city. We're not talking about all. I'm talking about.
Oh, the city
I'm
lawyers.
really-
Oh,
yeah.
that's kind of typical for cities also, but I'd be curious to read that. Usually, the city team of lawyers are not equipped to handle a lot of the court cases, but they do farm out some of that. I think every city does, but I'd like to look at some of those numbers and see how we set.
Yeah, just like they hired an out of town lawyer for that censorship of our city council, Art Morales.
Yeah.
They hired an out of town lawyer for that.
Yeah, and that comes down to some political stuff to make sure that we're not biased particularly when it comes to somebody that's on your own team, that's a council member for the same city. You bring in a neutral party. That's kind of common too. You do that for police work too. It's
Yeah.
not unusual that the police out of La Paz or something come down and handle something that has to do with the politics of things, so that the sheriff department is not seen as being biased in any way.
Right. Yeah. So the thought is,
Yeah.
anyway, Russ, I thought I'd give you a jingle and tell you about Saturday and also about 37A
Thank you, buddy.
hunting.
Take care, man.
All right.
Bye-bye. And let me comment first. I mean, I had to look up 37A. I didn't know which one that was. So just looking it up real quick. It's 1,675 square miles of south central Arizona, spanning Pinal and Pima counties. About 72% of that land is BLM or state trust. So it's a lot of public lands, obviously. Desert lowlands, washes, scattered mountain ranges, and all that. So it's a lot of hunting, I'm sure, out there. I have no idea what the issue is as far as a solar farm. I'm sure out of 1,675 square miles, there's got to be some areas that are probably not popular to hunters and some that are. And so the placement of that solar panel range, solar range, I'm sure is it's going to be watched closely, and that's just a thing that needs to be just negotiated and talked about. I know we had one of that in Yuma County too. That one that was solar panel wanted to be put on a place that was the hotspot of activity, and the suggestion was to move it. I don't know if they did or not. I don't remember. But I think that's a legitimate thing to discuss and talk about. As far as judges go in the state of Arizona, I heard some about recently, our own high court in Arizona. Some will probably be retiring in the next 4 years, and it's going to make a big difference on who the governor is, on what the complexion of that court. That court's been somewhat liberal for some time, and with Andy Biggs coming up right now against Katie Hobbs, very favorable as far as judge selections at that point, would think, and very helpful to have a governor that's a Democrat a Republican at that time, and not a Democrat for that. We hope we find out. As far as lawyers go with cities, it's not uncommon. I mean, I don't know how many city attorneys we have, but they're not equipped to handle. They guide and help other lawyers on some major issues. I don't know if you ever have any city that can handle everything. I'd have to talk to the cities. And Yuma. I'm not a fast typer. I'm asking real quickly. I asked how many city, let me see, city attorney's office consists of 4 core attorney roles. And so that'd be the city attorney, deputy city attorney, 2 assistant city attorneys. And when they go out, and let's say they get into some complicated cases or some cases that require some expertise that they don't necessarily have, I think it's best to go out of town. Otherwise, it'd be favoritism and all kinds of stuff, I think. But well, we'll need to talk. We'll need to talk to them about it. I mean, city attorneys, and find out about that. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC. At times, I've joked about her being my favorite representatives. She's not been as visible lately. At least I don't think so. I mean, I know she's going out on tour with Bernie Sanders to work with other candidates across the nation and help support him and all that, because she does have a following, and she's got, although I don't think she's good at legislating, maybe, but I think she's good at social media. She was interviewed the other day. I mean, she's interviewed a lot. She's one of the more visible ones. And asking about, let me see, I'm asking about Hong. Now, Hong is that one running for governor that nobody wants to comment on, Francisca Hong, because of her controversial comments about no Thanksgiving. She's a Wisconsin governor candidate. So they ask her about Hong because she's part of what Ocasio-Cortez is. That's the Democratic Socialists of America. And Hong wants to go so far as to says Thanksgiving should be canceled and that prisons should be abolished. And some of that is on the website for DSA, Democratic Socialists of America. Not so much Thanksgiving, but that was a Hong thing. Well, she's backtracking on now. Yeah, I forget what she said about it, but she said, no, that's my favorite. I think the girl's real trouble. Ocasio, of course, says that I have a local city councilman that has this saying, woke one was crazy. Did you hear that? That's Ocasio-Cortez talking about, when asked a question about Hong, that woke one was crazy. And I think that's what's important, is that we have to assess what a candidate is saying now. So she's saying everything from last week is forgiven as woke one. That was woke one. And I would assume she wants to put herself in there because she's just as bad as anybody is saying to cancel the police and cancel that stuff and all that. And then she was asked about the socialist movement. Has it gone too far? The socialist movement went too far. And she's even talked about defunding police and all that. She says, and I think that the doors were really open in trying to entertain any and every policy that was going to get us to a better place. And I actually think that the discussions that we had in that time were quite fruitful. So she's saying that, what, canceling police and everything was just a discussion and it's fruitful to discuss that? I think that's radicalism crazy, but okay. I think that when we talk about crime today, it's fundamentally different than the way we talked about crime in the beginning, crime down, and bringing crime down, right? And I think that we all share the goals of having a low crime rate as possible. I think that during lockdown, of course, rhetoric in that time is not rhetoric that we would use today. And I'm grateful that these candidates have the opportunity to present who they are in this electorate and that they're campaigning on it in this moment. I think she should be arrested for word salad. It meant nothing. All that meant nothing. She's just running her mouth about platitudes and stuff that doesn't mean anything. We all want crime down and all that stuff. She doesn't say she agrees or disagrees with policy. She's not talking about policy. She's just talking about how people feel and the rhetoric of the day. How could you trust somebody like that that has no rudder, doesn't know what her goals are, what her direction is, or what she hopes to accomplish? And that goes for the whole Democratic Socialists of America, and that they're just going to start excusing the things. These are the people, the Democratic Socialists of America and the left in general, that will hold the feet to the fire of every Republican for what they said 30 years ago. And she's saying, well, that was just woke one, and it was kind of crazy, and those discussions were good to have and all that stuff. And then all this rhetoric about everybody wants crime down and all that. It's, how does she show up on these shows and be taken seriously? It's amazing to me. The host that she was interviewing talked out that the Democratic Socialists of America has a program of abolishing the police, and that includes her. She's part of the Democratic Social America, and it's their program to abolish police, which is trying to pin her down from all the word salad talk. And she responded. She says she's currently a member of the New York chapter of the DSA rather than the national organization, and does not agree with all of its positions. Now, see, that that's new information to me. I didn't know there were different tribes of Democratic Social of America that have different platforms. Didn't know. I know the Democratic Social of America was fighting with the Democrats for power, as in splitting the Democratic Party a little bit into tribes. I didn't know there was competing chapters of Democratic Social of America. According to Ocasio-Cortez, she was, and she says, "Well, I'm not a member of that. I'm a member of this Democratic of Socialists of America." Apparently, in 2024, the group withdrew its endorsement of Ocasio-Cortez for re-election, which I missed. I didn't know the Democrat Social of America did it, or I didn't think much about it at the time, because she had not met its conditions, including opposing all funding to Israel and publicly supporting boycott and sanctions for Israel, the country of Israel. And she didn't support that, so they threw her out of the Democratic Socialists of America national program. So she joined the New York City chapter of the Democratic Socialists of America. And now the group is split on whether to offer any endorsements of Ocasio-Cortez for the 2028 presidential election. So they're discussing, I guess, within the DSA, should we endorse Ocasio-Cortez, even though we threw her out? That's according to Canary Mission. She's, who knows what she is. Obviously some leader in that organization. A spokesman for Kerry Mission said that AOC presidency would still give that movement more than influence. It would give its agenda access to the full power of the executive branch. And that agenda access, or that agenda access, would be open borders, gender identity, changes, and canceling police, defunding police, cutting off Israel, and boycotting everything from Israel, to mention just a few of the absolute crazy. ICE would be gone. People in the country illegally would be treated better than citizens of the country. That's the Democratic Socialist of America, which many people call communist, justifiably, I guess. But I'm going to say socialist, so you better recognize what it is. That's that organization, the Democrat organization, that is advocating for the same policies written by Marx. And socialist was their stepping stone, to minimum wages in the $30, $40 range. And much like Seattle's doing, that's causing destruction in Seattle. Mass layoffs and people leaving. And state of California, Illinois, New York, where people are fleeing because of socialistic programs, defunding programs, elevation of immigrants, wanting to pay for that. Medicare for all, wanting to pay for everybody, for everything, housing, medical, and no way to pay for it. That the city did, city can't. Instead of offering opportunity, they want to offer, you know, they want to offer riches. They want to offer everything that you want to buy versus making you work for it. It will collapse like it has all over the world. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. At least history shows us it doesn't. There's a descendant of slaves, Earl Walker Jackson, and he self-proclaims he's a descendant of slaves. Not that he wants anything from that. He's not looking for reparations. He's not looking for apologies. He's not looking for a chip on his shoulder and you owe me now. He's a black bishop and an author, and I don't know much about him other than I read in this article just recently. He's criticizing the Smithsonian National Museum of American History, and of course, we've talked about that, the rewriting of history that they're putting into the National Museum of American History to go more woke and rewrite our history to say that we were a terrible country and we're horrible. Well, Jackson, his great grandparents were enslaved. So Jackson must not be a young man. His great grandparents were slaves. He says if you were born an American, you hit the pivotal or the proverbial lottery because you have more opportunity and hope than any people living anywhere else on the planet. That's refreshing to hear. I mean, reality. It is reality. And it is more hope than anywhere else on the planet. It is. And it's not a guarantee that you're going to do well. It's not equity. It's equality. You've got opportunity. He says, it makes me angry when people do this to our country. And he's talking about the ideological capture that's going on over at the Smithsonian. But it's sad, too, because what it tells me is that the indoctrination machine is hard at work, convincing people of this narrative. This is a wonderful country. It's the greatest nation on earth. And you've got people so indoctrinated into seeing our country sliced and diced into race and ethnicity and class and income and so forth that they fail to understand the blessing of the United States of America. We need more Walker Jacksons. I'll bet he's not accepted in the woke areas of town, probably. He's probably a pastor. He's a black bishop that would be shunned by the socialists, the Democratic Socialists of America. He's talking about the Smithsonian National Museum of American History. Of course, the White House has been jumping on him. They've got a 162-page Saving America story describing in detail what's going on at the museum and how they're rewriting history and excluding a lot of our heritage that was wonderful and great and remarkable. And their director, Anitha Hartig, which we've talked about in here, that makes like $300,000-$400,000 a year. I mean, it's a big salary to run this museum. It's a government museum, and we're paying her way too much. And of course, that money comes from what they call the donations to the museum, even though 60% is paid by our tax dollars. So she's not paid out of that. They say she's paid out of that donation, which is a shell game. And she says history is as a practice, a prime tool of social justice. And that's what she's after. Hartig said, United States' long and violent racial history continues to be present in our reckoning, if you will. Redress in the form of reparations, of course, goes beyond acknowledgement of wrongdoing. It should leverage responsibility. It should think about the act of correction as we pursue restorative justice. And for us on the call, restorative justice throughout history. Restorative justice throughout history. And Walker responds to those comments. He says, she talks about how history should be a tool of social justice. No. History should be facts about what has happened in the past and leave others to draw their own conclusions about what those facts mean. But no, she wants to use history to try to get people to think a certain way and respond a certain way, and namely, to be somewhat angry and bitter and resentful of our country because of our past. See, I like this guy a lot. And see, after the White House was released like less than a month ago, it's not been that long, Jackson said he's been warning for years about what he described as woke ideology at Smithsonian. In 2015, he confronted the Smithsonian National Portrait Gallery over the inclusion of Planned Parenthood founder Margaret Sanger in its exhibit on civil rights leaders. He took issue with Sanger's inclusion. She was an elitist. She was a euthanizer. She was a racist. She admired Adolf Hitler. She spoke for the Ku Klux Klan. Jackson also said he believes he describes ideological capture at the Smithsonian as well as the broader education system, entertainment industry, journalism, sports, stems from the influence of Howard Zinn's book, A People History of the United States. Howard Zinn was a professed anarchist. He wrote that book as a problem against America, amazed at how few Americans understand that book has been more influential in teaching American history than any book that the public schools or colleges have ever used. I was unaware of myself. I don't know the book. As an example, Jackson pointed to the materials currently promoted by the Zinn Education Project that draw a line between deportation operations today and the Great Depression era deportations. And it's a program of racial expulsion rooted in racism, which I see as ridiculous, but they write it so that people think it's a sober thought. If you're learning that from the very beginning of your education, my goodness, by the time you're an adult and you've been through 20,000 hours of that, no wonder we've got people protesting outside of ICE facilities. No wonder you've got people at the Smithsonian talking about America as if it's the worst place to live on earth. They frankly have been brainwashed and indoctrinated into it. There's no place on earth that has been more affirming of human dignity, offered more opportunity for human flourishing, and frankly acknowledged, in spite of the apparent differences that we have, that we are ultimately one nation under God. I think loving America is easy because you're right. I'm a great son of slaves. I'm a product of a broken home and foster care. And yet my life has been wonderfully blessed. First, of course, by the grace of God, but also because I live in a country where anything is possible, where you're free, where you can dream, you can strive to fulfill your God-given talents and ability. I'm going to add Walker Jackson to my list of favorites. I think that's a wonderful spokesman that we should be paying attention to. For sure. I'm going to go to my notes real quick because I'm running out of time. I want to make sure I've covered everything. Let me see. Sandy sends me a few comments I want to look at. Okay. And I'd flagged this earlier, but Sandy sent me a chart that compares cumulative inflation across the last 10 presidential terms, with every presidency starting from the same baseline. So I guess they zero out the baseline and start it when you become president or you take the oath. Biden was the worst, and it's funny, you don't hear about that. You hear about inflation being a Trumpian problem, but the inflation of Biden still exists today. In other words, if prices got raised under Biden, they're not going down. But yet, they're transferring that pain to say it's Trump's fault. Well, Biden was at 21.2%. Uh, George Walker, George H.W. Bush, I'm sorry, was 17.9. Clinton, Clinton, the first term was 11.81. Bush, the second term, was 10.28. Bush, the first term, was 9.79. Clinton, the second term, was 9.74. Obama, the first term, was 9.38. Trump, in his first term, was 8, flat. Obama, his second term, was 4.94, and Trump, his second term, which is only 18 months. And he's at a handicap because he took over for Biden, which was very high. He's at 4.71, which I don't know if you caught that, but I did it in the order, and this article did it in the order of high to low. Trump's second term is the lowest, and his first term was third for the lowest. Only Obama's second term was in there. And that's a cumulative CPI inflation, not the annual inflation rate. And the source is U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. And that was put out by, I think it was Laura Trump. You see, she sent me something here on the NIH director, Jay Bhattacharya. The kinds of decisions in the face of public health during the pandemic led to many people losing trust in public health. True. He says, no, and they asked you, Brennan, this was an interview. Brennan asked, the Trump administration? Jay says, no, I mean like Biden, just so we're clear. The Biden administration censored me. The director, NEC director, Kevin Hassett, they typically, construction or manufacturing work in the U.S. has been sent increase under Donald Trump of 3,000 to 4,000 in salary. And under Joe Biden, it dropped about 3,000. That's not information that gets out a lot, and I've read that. That real income has gone up under Trump and was down under. It said manufacturing was collapsing, would take our record over this every day. If you look at the overall economy, then things are really, really booming. As an example, there are 83,000 construction workers building factories right now. That's a number that we've never seen before. Initial claims for unemployment insurance are the lowest they've been since World War II. According to Vice President Vance, we're talking to the Iranians, of course. We're trying to maximize the amount of oil and gas that's coming out of the Strait of Hormuz. We're just trying to make sure that we get what we need out of this particular conflict. We've destroyed their nuclear program. We've destroyed their conventional military. We've radically reduced their military abilities. And right now, they're trying to see if they're willing to make the kind of long-term changes that would be necessary to have a better relationship with the United States. And if not, that's fine too. We're just going to keep on applying the pressure that we can apply and getting as much oil and gas out of the Middle East so that Americans can enjoy lower gas and energy prices. I was literally shocked by this the first time that I realized that we send, for example, $8 billion to the state of California to run their food stamp program. They don't even verify eligibility. You could have illegal aliens on that program, but the program is not there for illegal aliens. It's not there for fraudsters. It's what California and so many blue states have done is really turn down the eligibility requirements, turn down the verification requirements, and we unfortunately are just going to have to force them into some basic stuff. Things like checking when somebody signs up for food stamps. Are they in this country legally? Which is fun. They've been asking for records and not getting them. I don't know what the end result is on that, and I'm glad Vance is still talking about it. As far as the Iran conflict that Vance mentions, and these are some notes that Sandy sent me, but right now we're kind of in a ceasefire. Like all the ceasefires with Iran, that doesn't mean missiles don't fly. Still a ceasefire. Um, Trump claims that Iran came to them, called them, and begging to make some kind of deal that they want to get out of this. They haven't been paid. They have not paid their military in like 3 or 4 weeks, and presumably not paying the proxies. And that's going to cause problems for them. The assumption is that all the money that they get, what they are getting, is going just to more weaponry and that kind of stuff. The United States has targeted things that they haven't hit yet as far as infrastructure, and it has targeted things that they haven't hit yet. That's still a problem, like stockpiles of weapons that they now know that they didn't know initially, launching sites that they now know they didn't know initially, and they haven't even gotten to all of them, and they're ready to do it. Iran knows this, and they know that we've got it. It's been publicized. I think, we do publicize it and put it out there that we know where this stuff is that they had hidden, and yet they don't seem to care, because while we're in supposed negotiations, they say that they're not negotiating with the United States. They're not interested in negotiating with the United States. They're talking to Onan, which is the other side of the strait, the country on the other side of the strait, to try to make a deal with them that we both, you take care of the outbound, I take care of the inbound, and we can charge accordingly. In other words, not use the federal waters or the national waters in between, open water in between, because that 4-mile stretch in the middle between the two countries is considered international water. They're saying I guess we mine that, and then we force people to come to your coast or my coast, and we both make a lot of money so far. And I don't understand. Was it Onan? I don't understand why they're having that negotiation. They're in the middle of building, a multi-billion-dollar canal to go around the straits, because it's a problem for them too, even though they're part of it, to get away from some of the opportunities that Iran has to easily hit ships with weapons. They're making a canal at huge expense, supposedly, which I don't know when that's going to be done. That would take years, I would think. I would think it would take years, but they're putting money into that, which I don't understand. I mean, I think that's probably foolhardy in the long run, because a few things are going to happen with this war. At the end of the thing, I think the United States is going to bulldog this if Congress allows it. If they continue to allow it, they're going to bulldog this thing and make sure that it happens, that it's open. There's an agreement that it's open, and that we never have to fight for this thing again, and to get the local countries to help monitor that and police it, not us, but have them police it at that point. Hopefully that does. And if it does, then that canal is foolhardy. And then another thing is that Saudi Arabia and many others are putting in pipelines to pipe oil out of that area overland, instead of using boats, because it's just too volatile and Iran is not trustworthy. So why would you build that canal? It's beyond me. I don't understand how that could be useful. I received a text from somebody, from a listener today, that talked about the United States being short on weaponry. In fact, here's the text. Is reading several reports that the depletion of our munitions have weakened our position against Iran. And I've seen some of those reports. I've seen some of that rhetoric out there that people are saying we're in trouble and it'll take half a decade or something to replenish or stuff. I kind of ignore it myself, because I know our industrial base is awesome and can replenish that at any time. Look what we did during World War II, and we're more than capable of doing all that now. And he goes on to say, I am sure China, Russia, etc., see our opportunities given our low stockpiles. Iran, conflict was a mistake. Heard Trump say we have a virtually unlimited supply of munitions. I guess it's virtual. What Trump says we have an unlimited supply of munitions. I don't know what he means by that or not mean, but I know that we're in a conflict. And the last thing we're going to say is, boy, we're really hurting or something. We're not going to say that. And I don't believe we are hurting. I don't believe. I mean, do I believe we use munitions? Of course, we've used them. Do I believe we're hurting? No, I don't. I don't believe they would let that happen. And I wrote back that I told them I don't have any understanding about our level of munitions, our capacity. Nor does anybody. We're not going to let that secret out. But I do know that we could spool up production and we could outpace production from anybody on the world. We've got that capacity in the United States. We could, if we decided that's what we needed to do, like we did during World War II, we would make more ammunitions than we could possibly fire. I don't worry about it. And I said, Russia was very low at the start of the Ukrainian war. Somehow, they seem to be doing fine. In fact, they outpace Ukraine. And we know that they've got, all these embargoes and everything, but they're making it. So I asked AI about Russia, to verify it. And it says Russia is not currently low on overall munitions. While it faced severe localized shortages and supply strain earlier in the conflict, Moscow has successfully reorganized its economy into a war footing, ramping up domestic missile, artillery production, and securing foreign imports. Current production and stockpiles exceeding quotas. Russia defense manufacturing is currently meeting or exceeding its monthly quota output by 110 to 120%. Major missile types, including Caliber and KH-101 cruise missiles, high-volume strikes rather than running out of weapons. Russia has significantly scaled up its massive barrage capabilities, launching hundreds of missiles and drones in intensive monthly campaigns designed to overwhelm Ukraine air defense's tactical adjustments. While successful Ukrainian strikes on logistics hubs occasionally force temporary localized artillery rationing on the front lines, overall industrial output and imports continue to sustain and replenish Russian stockpiles. If Russia can do that, and Russia doesn't have the capabilities we have, they don't have the entrepreneurism we have. They've been at war for 4 years, and they're producing more than they can use. And believe me, they're using much more munitions than what we just fired on Iran. I mean, we did it for 20 days? Russia's done it for 4 years daily, for 4 years. And you're saying we can't manufacture and keep that supply chain? I don't believe that's true. I don't believe that's true. The one more question from the same author is, who is the GOP candidate against Grijalva? Is there one? Yeah, it's Daniel Gutierrez is running against Grijalva, and he's a great guy. He's been doing it for 3 years, 4 years. I don't know. He's been a while, and he's getting more and more following. But it's a tough district. It's a tough district. God bless Daniel, and I hope he makes it. I gotta go. It's already 9 o'clock. Thank you for listening. I'll be back tomorrow with Dean. Dean Weingarten will be in tomorrow. Have a great Monday morning. This is Russ Clark with Mortgage One Studio.